The internet can be a dangerous place even within the confines of your own space and on your own device. With cyber criminals working overtime to hack individual and company data, everyone must stay vigilant while navigating the online space. Over the last months, several people have fallen prey to hackers on at least one social media platform, Instagram. And recently, there were reports of one major tertiary institution in Jamaica being held at ransom by cyber attackers. As we observe Safer Internet Week, here are a few tips to remember. Firstly, be careful not to give out your personal information when chatting or posting online. Personal information includes your email address, phone number, and password. You probably would have seen some persons posting videos with cars but blurring out the license plate number, or engaging in the practice of not posting locations while sharing images and videos. Well, these are just some ways to keep safe while socializing online.
You need to ensure that you protect yourself against these sort of scams, because once they get your personal information, then they can create an identity and use your identity to commit crime. So it's called identity theft. So you need to be careful of that.
Information Technology Manager at the Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, Andrew Evelyn. Meeting someone you have only been in touch with online can also be dangerous. If you're a minor, only do so with your parents' or guardian's permission, and even then, only when they can be present. The same applies if you're an adult. Don't go alone and agree to a public meeting place where you can be visible to several other people. Remember, online friends are still strangers, even if you have been talking to them for a long time. You also need to be aware of the types of emails, messages, and files that you accept. Images or texts from people you don't know or trust can lead to problems, as they may contain viruses or unpleasant messages. They may also be used to conduct a phishing attack to steal your data.
Sometimes we might get an email that says your account has been compromised, or your password has been compromised and you need to click this link to fix it. And that's usually a scam. It's called compromised account alert scam. And you need to ensure that you don't click the link, because once you go to the website, you're going to feel compelled to change your password. And once you do that, then they have actually got your password.
Information Technology Manager at the Consumer Affairs Commission, Andrew Evelyn. He says a way of boosting your protection online is to install antivirus software on your computers as another layer of protection. Such software usually come with internet protection. Remember that anyone on the internet can lie about who they are, and not all information is true, so best practice is to always fact-check your information. If you're a minor or a child, tell a parent, guardian, or a trusted adult if someone or something online makes you feel uncomfortable or worried. Speak up too if you or someone you know is being bullied online. Parents and guardians, ensure that you are monitoring all online activities by those younger ones in your household, and be sure to sensitize them about the dangers of being in the virtual space. That's it for this week's Get the Facts. I'm Anthony Morgan. Join us again next week for more.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
It's my station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM. Keep listening.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
We are something special on the road.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in. Best 100 FM.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100
Wagwan.
Guten Tag.
Buongiorno.
We are
The Kingstones.
I think I love you, Best FM, because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you, Best FM, because you're better than the
Melody, melody, melody in my voice. Kemisha plays the music nice. Melody, melody, melody in my voice. Kemisha full of vibes. Best FM run the town. Yes, I run the town. Hear me loud and clear. They run the country and the town, or the far and near. Bless the love into to Empress Kamisha on Best FM, and it's all about the resetting. Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on Best FM. Keep it locked. This is Warrior King, the Black Emperor. Come on, tune in.
Veg Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veg Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
With everything within me, I declare your glory. You are God, holy and righteous. You are God. You are God. You are God, holy and righteous. Oh, you are God. You are God. You are Lord, holy and righteous. You are Lord. You are Lord. Somebody declare that He is Lord. You are Lord. You are Lord. You're holy, holy and righteous. You are Lord. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And forever, He's our reigning King. Yes, He reigns. Yes, He reigns. Yes, He reigns. Holy and righteous. He's our holy God. And He reigns forever. Yes, He reigns. Reign. For He's a God who reigns forever. Yes, He reigns. Yeah. Holy and righteous. He's our reigning King. Oh, He's our reigning King. Reigning King. Right now, God, we declare your majesty in this place. We declare your glory. We declare that there is none like unto thee, God. We enthrone you with our praises. We lift our voices and we say, hallelujah, for you are God. You are Lord, and you reign forever and ever. You inhabit the praises of your people. We give you unreserved praise. We say, you are Lord. You are Lord. You are Lord. Yes, you are Lord. Holy and righteous. Hallelujah. Oh, we declare that you are Lord.
We said that we were going to mark this morning for peace. And there's no better way to do it, I tell you. We're getting ready to have our conversation, our faith connection with the big boss, Reverend Harold Blair. And of course, we, JaSpeaks. JA speaking on Bess 100 FM. I am your host, Orrett Montague. And the time, 12 minutes past 7 o'clock. As we get ready to run into that conversation, though, and I know we're prayerful and all of that, we have to remember that it is the reggae month, so we're going to switch to a little bit of gospel reggae in the theme of reggae month. So we'll switch to a little gospel reggae, and I must remind you that it's Black History Month. So I feel like being a little bit generous. We're going to tell you how a little later on. But first, I want to draw your attention to two videos that came to public attention this week. If they were in the public domain before, them come to public attention this week. The two videos I'm talking about is the video. If you haven't seen it yet, then you're not really online. If you haven't seen it yet and it's because you're not online, that's why you have Monty. So I must tell you, I see a video with Oral Tracy. Is the one that always tracing people over sports? The one from the TV. The fat one. I see a video with him giving us reasons as to why the football fans couldn't watch the Reggae Boys lose at the National Stadium. The Reggae Boys would not have lost, he said, or he implied, if there was a crowd. And that there wasn't a crowd was really upsetting for Mr. Tracy. And I must tell you, I agree with Mr. Tracy. They never have no crowd at the football game, but they're having big crowd at Gibson Relays. I'm not telling no lie. And I see all type of big crowd events being planned. So I don't know what was the problem with the football, but Oral Tracy seems to know. Him say that people in the JLP vex. Some people vex that the Premier League clubs that were all headed by the big boss Edward Siaga. With some people tell me they still don't know where. I was going to say Edward Siaga here, but we don't know. So we'll just say the late Prime Minister, the most honorable Edward Siaga, they didn't really, they never really in him and the Mike Henry replacement and all of that. And so we hear that is out of spite that the government decided not to allow any fans to watch the Reggae Boys. We hope that nothing don't go so. I must tell you, if it's one of the things I hope is untrue, is that. But I am yet to hear any voice. No Babsy Grange saying nothing no go so, Oral Tracy wrong. No Desmond McKenzie saying nothing no go so, Oral Tracy lying. No Mike Henry who replaced Mr. Siaga at that footballing body. Nobody has come out and said that the boss is wrong. So it look like, if you ask me, them did burn the people, they burn them because them never really like the way they deal with Mr. Siaga and Mr. Mike Henry. That is sad. The other video that have to come to your attention, even though it's social media, it circulates. And I must tell you, again, Monty bringing this information to you because you mightn't have the social media, you're able to see it and all of that. Some of you have it, but it don't really go all over the place. Now, we see two high school girls from Magotty High. I don't know if you saw the video, but two high school girls from Magotty High. I say morning to all St. Elizabeth people. St. Elizabeth people, you're blessed. Morning. Oh, you do. But two Magotty girls fighting in the most horrific way. Headlines suggesting that one had pen stuck in forehead or pencil and all of that. stab up. All type of drama, big crowd. I must tell you, unlike other viral videos we've seen, there were some attempts in this viral video to pull the girls apart. Their fellow students, and it was a crowd of students, a crowd of students, but their fellow students were trying to separate them, but they weren't having a bar of it. They had a fight to finish. And there was a photograph circulating of a pen. A pen. The students have been suspended, I must tell you, and now all the peace going on, the peace talking, and the police came and got involved and all the drama. We'll hear more about it later on. We'll try to speak to our good friend Betty. But I must tell you, news like this is depressing. And it tells you just how broken our society is becoming, even in places where it's not yet so. So we tell you, the solution has to be prayer. We'll soon talk to the big boss. But those Maggoty girls, oh, come, man. Wanna do better. I really do hope that the principal at Maggoty has taken initiatives to now go about counseling the rest of the student body so that they understand that it is not the type of behavior that the school wants to see. How is so? I mean, people change all the time. So we hope that these young people will represent their changed self and go before their student body at some point and explain to students why they shouldn't be fighting. And yes, people can change. There are some people saying no, nobody can change. Well, the Lady Saw example isn't a good example. But see, Lady Saw change. They say she change back, alright, but she changed first. We don't know if she changed back yet, or we know that she changed back. I don't know that she changed back yet. Somebody telling me they know that she changed back. I'm not following your message. I tell you morning. But she was in the news this week as well. But that is for another discussion. That the discussion we will have to leave alone. We're going to go into the conversation with the big boss, the Reverend Harold Blair, so that we can have our faith connection, our faith talk, and then we jump straight into the news. Listener Corey, morning boss. I hope all is well. Tell me that I must notice is $3 a week going on the gas. So we've been trying to find out if Mr. Newman noticed too, but we don't know yet. So we'll keep you informed. You hear? We're hearing some depressing news. It's depressing because my pensioners are valuable, your pensioners are valuable, they're all our pensioners, and we must treat our old people well. And there are people complaining that they haven't been able to get their pensions. And when they call pension office tell them say they're dead. The last time I heard, or the last recollection I have of these types of stories come out of Nigeria, where in Nigeria it is a common pension fraud to tell the individual that they have died. You're looking at the person and you say, boy, John Brown, our records tell us that you're dead. And you say, but which part of my money go then if I'm dead? You say, oh, well, one of our staff look like they was collecting it for you all these years, but now that you come and we're sure you're dead, we can stop the payment. I want to talk to a good friend, Senator Brown, but it's a problem if our pensioners can't access their pensions, and it is a bigger problem if you're telling a man that him dead, a man who always collecting him pension, come to you this morning and you tell him say him dead, then something is wrong with your system, or you're becoming the system I just described. We can't take no more corruption in Jamaica. We don't want it here. If there is a problem seeping in at the pension services, we want to know and we want to fix it. We have the big boss online. Okay, that is fine. So the pension issue is on our agenda. We also want to keep on the agenda the issue with your chicken. So the conversation we were to have last week with Senator Norman Grant, we will seek to have this week. Because it cannot be, now we know, now we hear, we feel it in we bones when we hear that some retailers planning to put $50 a pound on the chicken. You don't need no more seasoning than that, it licking your bone already. It is not acceptable. Poor people can't get licks. And we hear no rises in the minimum wage. No plans, no glorious announcements of minimum wage increases. We heard great promises that the minimum wage was going to become a living wage under this government. The man who made those promises, he became finance minister after the promise them did make. And we saw no introduction of glorious minimum wages. That same man is now agriculture minister. And we know that him understand that poor people having to live on unlivable funds. So we're certain, we know that Mr. Audley Shaw will ensure that the poor chicken farmers who cannot compete with CB will need their waiver too. If the big importers are going to get an opportunity to pay less tax when they bring in them mixed parts, then you deserve your opportunity to buy cheaper feed when Hypro get a relief at the port. It's always so. So we have to have that conversation. We can't make that conversation slide. The big boss online it. We speak to the big boss, your pastor, the people's pastor, the Reverend Harold Blair Jr. Morning.
Morning, my friend. Good morning, Jamaica. I listened to you speak and I ask myself, will it ever end in Jamaica? You know, the saying, the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer. We see the gas prices going up again. We see the
hold on.
Not the chicken. Everything, every food item has gone up, and I worry for the persons that are getting poor relief or that are getting their part.
Hold on. Sorry, I made a little error that I wanted to correct before we go much further. The Minister of Agriculture is the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. Audley Shaw is the Minister of Transportation. We still want him to put in a word for the chicken farmers. Yes.
Yes, but just very concerned, and sometimes you have to say pray. And I do want to say prayer does change things to the hands of God, but we need some people to have some heart somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how this is going to happen, because though this is February 2022 and we've had 2 years of this COVID pandemic, I wonder what happens to Jamaica and the world if we go through another 2 years. Suppose something big comes out, bigger than Delta and everything, mm-hmm. in the next month or two. Mm-hmm. How do people survive? It's heartrending, very heartrending.
It is very heartrending indeed. And we have you seen any signs of Black History Month being used to inspire some encouragement, put some encouragement in our youth, and to get them inspired to be black princes and kings and queens and princesses rather than jailbirds?
I take an opportunity as a student of media and a media practitioner to be on several radio stations, just to listen throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And the different things I've seen them doing has been, I think, very welcomed in terms of highlighting what we, the African people, have done over the years. Whether it's music, whether it's science, whether it's civic society, mm-hmm. Black people, or I would normally like to say Africans, mm-hmm. Because that's really what we are. You know, when a Jamaican goes abroad and lives in America and produces a first, a second generation, a third generation, those people consider themselves to be Jamaicans. On the other hand, we in the Caribbean and black people in the North American hemisphere, though they are called African Americans in America, and though we still have our little things that we carry over from the dance and the culture, many of us fail to realize that we are indeed Africans. And I always tell students that when I went to South Africa and I walked through the marketplace, I thought I was at Coronation Market. Mm. You know, when I went into some of the villages, though some of the villages are different, others reminded me of being in areas of Jamaica. So though we've been generations apart, for some reason we have maintained our Africanness, even though some of us don't call ourselves Africans. We are indeed Africans, and we have a lot to learn from the greatness of that place. The only thing Africans tell me is don't call their country Africa.
Yeah, true.
There are many countries, yeah.
True, because unfortunately there are people who are of the view that Africa is one place. So they say, "Nah, go Africa." Not aware that their African territory is in much more peaceful situations than ours, and very well developed.
I would hope though that in a month like Black History Month and a month like February, that somehow Black people in Jamaica and around the world would stop to think about the carnage of lives that we continue to do. I was sharing with somebody that we cannot continue to just say to each other that anywhere Black people are, there's going to be murder and stuff like that, because there are countries like Barbados and others where there seems to be some more level of respect for life. There are other places like that in the world, and maybe also in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So as a people, we need to work on our discipline.
Mm-hmm.
We've come through our years of independence in Jamaica. We've come through our years of time away from Black people selling Black people in Africa to the white man, and we've developed our societies and built our histories and our culture, but yet we continue to disrespect life.
Indeed, the Governor General in his throne speech suggested that we need to use mediation and all of that to solve disputes. I mean, somebody need to tell him to tell Andrew, because the police arguing with them over some overtime pay for ages, and instead of solving it through mediation, they have the police in court. But I digress. The Governor General is making the point that we ought to be encouraging our people to use more mediation when they're solving disputes, and to turn to things like the restorative justice program when it gets really serious, and to bring in policymakers before the thing gets out of hand. Would all of that help? And yes, it was throne speech this week, Reverend Blair.
Well, I think it will help, and I will say this, I've been one of those that have been advocating for conflict resolution in Jamaica from as early as the primary school. I've been a part of the restorative justice movement here. Not officially, I've been a part of one of their very first seminars. I've been a part of mediation with 2 young men. I believe in it. I see it working for Jamaica, and I do hope that more centers get established. On the other hand, I do hope and pray that as Jamaicans we can learn, and maybe advertisements need to be put on the radio and TV in terms of solving conflicts. And more people need to go out for training as mediators. It's a very important role, because it will change the fabric of our society and the face of our people.
Indeed, I think it's an important message to send against the backdrop of the brawl. I'm sure that you heard about it. Have you heard the 2 girls fighting on camera?
No,
Pen gets stuck in fire and all of that.
No, I didn't hear about that one at all.
Yes. I'm being told that it was the Machete High School and not the Magotty High School, but 2. So listeners, again, Lord, is the second time this. A while ago it was mixing up Aldershot, Pernell Chas, and now I'm mixing up Magotty with Machete. I must apologize, but the video, Reverend Blair, features 2 young ladies from the Machete High School, and they were going about their business, we thought, and then they start to war, and one stabbed up the other with a pen, and I think they were both wielding weapons, but one got done really badly, and it was all in front of a crowd of other children around them. It seems the lot were on their way from school, and we just don't know what's happening to our young girls.
Yes. This again is something where we want to encourage our young people to think and to resolve problems, because there's no possible way you can expect to make it in life having thrown stones or gardening fight is very difficult. And you just never know when it may cost a life.
Indeed.
It doesn't take much for someone to die.
The principal is asking for a greater presence of authority figures in the bus park. I say morning to the people out in Wakefield. I say morning to Falmouth people. But would that solve the problem?
What do you call authority figures? And that's very important. The bus park should have their own authority figures and people. The problem is we're a society now where we tend not to have respect, but I still see that if we put the right things in place, the right puzzles, right pieces of the puzzle in the puzzle, that things can work. So people must know that they have a responsibility to behave a certain way, especially if they're going to go on the buses. So the bus park needs it, other areas need it. The same way we can have discipline at some level in schools, we should be able to have it across Jamaica.
Indeed, we should, and it really is sad when you don't. We're careful though about jumping up and shouting for justice in Jamaica. You remember, for example, this young girl, Nzinga King, the young girl who says that she was forcibly trimmed by the police.
Yes.
And a lot of people jump up and say, "Oh, we want to see justice. We want to see justice." Now we're hearing that they might be planning to charge King with creating public mischief.
Well, I saw the all angles broadcast with the DPP, and it lets you thinking, because if those around her gave another story, then the DPP had no other respite but to make the decision she made. On the other hand, as to whether this young lady should be charged for it, well, I'm sure that the system has a way of going about what they do. It's just sad. It's sad because, one, it's not a situation where we want to say that no one's really come out and said throughout all of this process this week, I've heard.
So but you believe the police account that the young lady tear out her locks? Listeners, them said the young lady tear out her locks when them put her in the cell.
The other people that were there highlighted that she was going to do it or that she did it. And that's where the situation is. My argument, for the sake of peace in Jamaica, should also be that no one's really discussed, for those of us that came into the story late. I'm like, so is this girl Rasta? What about respect for Rastafarians and their locks or whatever? And so though the statements were made by the DPP and others, there should be an highlight that if the locks are cut, it's not an anti-Rasta situation, but the facts are that from what they've seen, the locks were not cut by the officer. So it's the way it is. It's a sad occasion, but I should also mention that if what the DPP is saying is interestingly correct, then it shows you the level of what we're facing with a lot of our young people in society that don't want to face or don't want to live the truth. And so we still go by looking to see how we can make money, how we can do a thing, how we can get past something in Jamaica. And that's what needs to change.
Indeed, it does need to change. We also need to get ready to run. We have to run to the break. I beg you, pray for the people.
Yes. Lord, when you were in the Garden of Gethsemane and they came to collect you, to carry you to trial before the cross, Peter jumped up in his anger and in his haste, did that which was wrong. Today, I pray that you will be able to remind Jamaica that we don't need the knife or the gun, that we don't need to act in haste, but that we can truly move forward peacefully and do the right things each day, especially when the law is involved. I ask you once again to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us of all unrighteousness. Prepare us, Lord, for the greatness of your blessings upon our lives. And I just ask you to remember our leaders, the the parliamentarians on both sides, the Governor General. Remember our leaders of society. Remember the rich man. Remember the poor man. Remember those that are homeless today. Provide for each Jamaican in each resident in every possible way, and give them the warmth of your love. And for that, I say thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Boy, Reverend Blair, I thank you so much for joining us on Friday mornings and for making this very important connection. Because otherwise, there are many listeners. Yes, and I know I'm not the only program on radio that turn to gospel to send a message. But there are many people who listen who this is their last little chance of, of a little prayer and connection to God. The churches are getting freed up this week. You're excited about that? Now that we're done with it?
Well, I'm excited about being able to fellowship and be with God's people. But I do want to encourage everyone just to remember to keep your social distance. Don't take advantage of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Because freedom does not mean that you have the right to do any and everything. Freedom means that you go forward and make the best of what you're allowed to do.
The people in Canada say they want their freedom back. They are protesting. At one point this week, they couldn't find Justin Trudeau. He had to be hiding because they didn't know the serious thing, listeners. The authorities in Canada didn't know how the thing would turn. You're aware?
Yes.
Yes. So let us be thankful that you'll be able to meet in full communion with your members this week, I'm sure. The Prime Minister said a 100 limit drop. As long as your facility can hold, you're good. And you are in Spanish Town.
Yes, I'm at Jonathan Grant High School, and we have a bit more space than for 100 people with 6 feet apart. So we're looking for a good time on Sunday.
Indeed, and they can stay out later than 11 o'clock now. So we need to tell them don't stay out. They can stay till 11 o'clock now. When Andrew see more of the Canada thing building here, he will get rid of even the 11 o'clock too. Because I think some people forget what normal is. You know, Reverend Blair?
Yes.
Some people have forgot. They say, oh, thank God we get another hour from the curfew. I forgot what normal is.
Because I'm doing devotion. I spent a few minutes online.
Thank you very much for the contribution. Thank you. Listeners, we run to the break. Don't go anywhere. You know we have to continue the conversation when we come back. I don't know if we've gotten hold of our next guest yet. Don't go anywhere. Stay with Bess.
We'll be right back.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. You hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
I try and call cause trust me.
Winters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM, keep listening.
He's coming back.
Yes, yes, indeed, it's redemption time with Apostle Clive Campbell presenting a life-changing, life-challenging message to encourage, inspire, and motivate you towards your destiny. Every Tuesday night from 9:30 p.m. until 12:30 a.m. and on Saturday from 9 o'clock until 10, right here on Best 100 FM. It's redemption time.
I'm standing firm.
Veg Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veg Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
In my Father's house there's many mansions, but in my house there's a room that I have especially reserved for my Jesus. Hey, there's a room in my house reserved for Jesus. Hey, there's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Oh yes, He's come as He please, and I never hear Him leave. There's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Hey, there's a room. What kind of room? A hallelujah room. A hallelujah room. There's a room. What kind of room? A fiery room. A fiery room. There's a room.
Boy, there is still room in Lady Saul's house for Jesus. There should be room in your house for Jesus too. Boy, I tell you, Spice, if there is room in Lady Saul's house for Jesus, there is room for Jesus in your house too. I must tell you, well, based on something that I said in a video, is a whole heap of room in your house. But alright, we'll leave that one right there. I'll say this. When our entertainers dance and perform and they gyrate and which reminds me, I was to have my good friend, a young lady called Fire Reds with me this morning. Fire Reds, sorry, Monty push out late, but we will have on Fire Reds again one morning, I'm sure. Well, when these ladies, when they morning, I don't want nobody cuss me over what I'm going to say about Lady Sarah Spice, eh? But when these ladies do these performances in their 20s and it's on social media, Lady Sarah must tell us how it feels if you live to 80 or 90 and you see it. You must tell me how it feels, because I don't know. When your grandson see it, I don't know what him going pre. Young people say pre. I don't know what him going pre. Eh? Because can you imagine? Well, Lady Saw, there are people in the dance hall who are itching to say welcome back. So I suppose Jamaica is about to get a U.S. ambassador. Well, if luck has it our way, because we're not so certain. We're going to speak in short order. I must tell you to Mr. Edgerton Newman a little later on. We also want to talk to the people from JFJ about the Armadale report. We hear that report come out. We wanted to speak to Betty and Blaine about same. Betty will speak to us next week, and we'll speak to these people now. Will you believe that Senator Norman Grant didn't remember our interview, he says, and is asking whether we can have the discussion another time? But you know, we're not going to itch and things like that, so we'll seek to get someone else from the JAS. I must tell you, we want people who are as fired up about the plight faced by the poor as we are. And you can't have much fire about plight by the poor when you don't hear your mouth. It is depressing, disappointing. My good friend Miss Baxter, morning Clarendon, morning Miss Baxter. My good friend Miss Baxter should tell me, Monty, it is disappointing when they don't remember the poor. And I tell you, they don't remember you. They don't remember me. They don't remember the poor. And that is very disappointing indeed. I must ask our good friend Mr. Newman if him think they remember the poor. We're waiting on him to join the conversation, because the modal increase for gas we're hearing, as in the average increase for gas has been the average increase for gas has surpassed the $3 mark. So on average they've been adding about $3 to the gas price. You never know. Well, you know now. And it is something we wanted to ask the big boss in the transportation union. He's scheduled to join us now. We don't know what is the hold up. We'll tell you shortly. I was telling you that Jamaica is about to get ambassador. Well, yes, we're about to get new ambassador. We heard this week that the U.S. Senate Charles Schumer is looking at naming a Jamaican-born New York City assemblyman to come here as ambassador to Jamaica. His name is Nick Perry, and he's been raised as the nominee for the U.S. ambassador to Jamaica. He's a black man, I must tell you. He should know the place well, because his parents, we hope, will be talking to him greatly about the place, about Jamaica and all of that. So we look forward to hearing whether he becomes the official U.S. ambassador and then joins us here in Jamaica. So we look forward to that. Hold the line. Don't go anywhere. We're going to find out what is happening with our guests.
Me a worship in thy presence. And when we go on me knee, and me God put him hands on me. Satan followers all of them flee. In this room, me God set me free. There's a room in my house reserved for Jesus. Hey, there's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Oh yes, he come as he please, and I never hear him leave. There's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. I pray in that room, I worship in that room, I fast in that room, call for me Savior in that room, I cry in that room, testify in that room, glorify in that room. Yes, that room. There's a room in my house reserved for Jesus. And there's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Oh yes, he come as he please, and I never hear him leave. There's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Hey, there's a room, yes Lord, a Holy Ghost room, yes Lord. There's a room, yes Lord, a fiery room, hey. There's a room, a revival room, yes. There's a room, a worship room, oh yes, hallelujah. My house, there's a room that I have especially reserved for my Jesus. Hey, there's a room in my house reserved for Jesus. Hey, there's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Oh yes, he come as he please, and I never hear him leave. There's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Hey, there's a room. What kind of room? A hallelujah room. A hallelujah room. There's a room. What kind of room? A fiery room. A fiery room. There's a room. What kind of room? A Holy Ghost room. A Holy Ghost room. There's a room. A revival room. Hey, there's a room in my house reserved for Jesus. Hey, there's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Oh yes, he come as he please, and I never hear him leave. There's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Hey, hey, it no under construction, it no need renovation. Me got him no need invitation. Him a me salvation, so me don't let me instruction. Say me no need disturbance. Hey, lock out the boy Satan. There's a room in my house reserved for Jesus. Come on now. There's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Oh yeah. He come as he please, and I never hear him leave. There's a room in my house reserved for the Lord. Hey, him not fit here enter. Me got him know who me a center. I coulda under tenter. Me a worship in thy presence. And when me go on me knee, and me God put him hands on me. Satan followers all of them flee. In a this room, me God set me free. There's a room in my house.
It looked like they're trying to sabotage the boss phone. The boss said, but Mr. Monty, I don't see her ringing. I said, but we've been ringing. The engineer has been trying to get the boss online. Let's speak to him quickly if we can as we run to the 8 o'clock. If you're traveling on your bus to work, then chances are your union is backed by Edgerton. Boy, big boss in transport. Oddly Shaw is excited about the new Roads Traffic Act. We want to know how the people on the ground feel about it. I had to pay a traffic ticket last week. It was most annoying. I must tell you, I was very annoyed. We're still having trouble contacting the boss directly. Well, we're getting another number to call him on, so we're going to try that number because the boss is saying it look like them sabotage that one. They don't want him to talk to Monty this morning. They don't want you to notice that in the past 3-4 weeks alone, it's about $20 gone per gas. Is 20? No, that's probably an exaggeration. I must be exaggerating. It can't be $20. I'm going to make him tell me. I'm going to make the big boss tell me. But they sent out a press advisory about it. I must tell you, little later on we speak to Damian Gordon. We have to talk about who would have won the LGE, the local government election. And we have to talk throne speech. Something like throne speech can't drop or we not have chat. So we'll have to have a little chat. And Mr. Newman has shared a press release with me saying that the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services TODS, they are supporting the Retailers Association, Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, JGRA. They are supporting their call to have a second look on the tax that they put on gas because they say they can't continue to purchase the fuel at such a high price. They can't continue to purchase the fuel. The people say it's $280,000 worth of gas they have to buy every day. So they want to see a reduction in the gas price, and Mr. Newman's group is supporting them. I'm saying even if we can't talk on the phone, I must make sure I get out that release. But we're going to try to get hold of him. We're continuing to try because it's little time this. A little later on, it's your little time at 9 o'clock. And between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, we speak to the people from JFJ and we speak to the people from UA, the gentleman from UA, the big political commentator, your political commentator, Mr. Damian Gordon. But right now we're going into conversation with Mr. Newman. They said that they're not calling for no demonstration because you see how truckers demonstrate in Canada and lock down Ottawa. They're not calling for no demonstration, but they want something to be done to rescue the public. Well, him say rescue of the sector, but I think it's the public that needs rescuing. Mr. Newman is on 9. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Montague. Good morning to your listeners, and my apologies, sir.
Well, I don't know. Blame the phone company, or is your phone?
The phone. Well, I think it's my phone this time around.
Or is your phone? So we're not going to blame the phone company, but we can blame the government for gas, because I don't mean for the hungry people on the road. Well, we can blame them for that gas too. But the gas we're talking about right now is the one at the pumps, and I must tell you, the people at the Jamaica Gasoline Association, they aren't pleased. Some of your members aren't so pleased. And at least 3 listeners prodded me this week and said, Monty, it's $3 gone on the gas nearly every week. Talk about the gas. So we're talking about the gas.
You know, it's unfortunate, Mr. Montague, because for many years we have been talking about the fuel, and we have been getting no response. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate that the government allows the country, the motoring public, to be suffering like this. Now, every week, sometimes for 9 weeks straight, we have an increase of an average of $3 on fuel. And we believe that the government can do something about it. We are sure that
9 times 3 is 30. So you're saying that's hold on. You're saying that since January is between $20 and $30 gone on gas?
If you do the math,
yes,
it's about that, about
yes.
$29 gone on fuel.
Yes, okay.
Right, and therefore, I think.
And if it was selling for less than $200 and $20 gone on it, then we can fairly say that more than 10% has gone on gas since the beginning of the year.
Absolutely.
Yes, so we're getting. We want the listeners to understand exactly and clearly what we're saying. Listeners, we're saying that this government that has announced a $912 billion budget on Thursday. We hear that is $912 billion the big boss going to come to carry to the parliament to spend. They get a large chunk of it from gas, don't they? They're not giving you no ease on your gas, but they're giving their friends at some of the chicken places ease on bringing in the mixed parts. I'm telling you the truth. I tell you, well, you know that I'm telling the truth.
Of the guys.
So what are the people at the JRGA saying? The JGRA?
Well, the JGRA is calling on the government to revisit this tax on fuel. And we are in full support of their call. Because we believe that something can be done to take off a percentage of the SCT. It can be done, and I'm just wondering why the government can't do that. Is it? Yes, they're getting a large chunk of the budget pie from fuel, but I mean, to the detriment of the people of Jamaica. Listen, we buy just close to $290 million worth of fuel every single morning from the pumps. 290. And let me tell you something, we're not making back. When you check our balance sheet at the end of the day, we are losing. We are losing 25% of our income because of less passenger. And if you see a bus loading, remember, that bus load is on detriment because the police getting down the road is in serious trouble. So, and sometimes we have to do that to earn an extra dollar. Not to earn an extra dollar, but to earn something. But we are doing the wrong thing. So the point is, government can come to our rescue. I know Minister Shaw told us last week, Thursday, that he will be taking the matter with his colleagues. And we are hoping it will be sooner than later. And but one must understand, how long can we bear this? My member said, listen, Mr. Newman, we can't go to demonstration route right now. And I agree with them. We want to go consultation first. But we cannot take it any longer. We have to be trusting gas. We have to be crediting gas from some gas stations.
Wow.
And sometimes we can pay the money in the evening.
Wow.
Right? It's unfortunate.
Before we run, because we're up on the 8 o'clock, listeners know that we have to run to the news. We're hearing that the minister is welcoming this new Road Traffic Act. How does Todd feel? Todd's, your organization, Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services.
Yeah. I've been saying, Mr. Montague, that the Road Traffic Act is a welcome piece of legislation. I think we need it because if there's anything in it that can reduce fatalities on our roads, we welcome it.
What are some of the parts of the act that you like?
Well, this is speeding. I think when a man speeds, dangerous driving, that man should feel it in the bottom of his pocket. The new e-ticketing system is a good idea because sometimes you stop on the road and you get held up for over hours to write one ticket. Now that ticket will be done in a couple of minutes. I can't outline now because I haven't gone through the total regulation as yet. But I think it is a welcome piece of legislation. And I think the public transport sector, if they don't want to fit in their pocket, they must do the right thing. I am concerned about my sector. If they don't want to do the right thing, they must feel it in the bottom of their pocket.
But
we have less fatalities on our road.
I think about 2 weeks ago or 3, you told us or you reminded us that of the vast number of persons who have died, many are not out of fatal crashes with PPVs. And I want to point out to the listening public and to draw your attention, if you haven't noticed, that since the start of the year, is 38 people dead.
Yes. And
38 people dead.
And 3 of those persons caused by CCTV.
Only 3. Only 3. So you're quite right. Listeners, when you say taxi driver, bad driver and them car, you must note that of the 38 people that died so far from road fatalities, only 3 were caused by taxi man.
And we take grave concern about that. Thank you so much.
So you don't want one. But I thank you very much for the contribution.
You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you. We have to run, listeners. We have to run to the 8 o'clock news. Remember, we're speaking to the people from JFJ. We have to talk Armadale. And we speak to Mr. Damian Gordon because we have to talk throne speech. And we simply must talk local government election. They don't want us to talk local government election. That's why the name keep none. We thank Mr. Edgerton Newman, the head of TODS, for joining us this morning. Big boss in the transportation sector. Yes, talking up to the minister. We don't want the Road Traffic Act to be rushed into. We want it to be done properly. Don't go anywhere. Stay with Bess. The conversation continues when we come out of Babylon.
If you agree with me, you agree with me. What we find here on earth, find them on heaven will agree. Come on, brother, make we pray. Come on, sister, make we pray. This is no time to delay. Cause Jesus on the way. Satan they on a roll. In the earth of patrol. He might try to get a soul, but God he is in control. Pray. Lift your hands and chant the pray with me. Touch on a ring. Lift your hands and chant the pray with me. Come and touch on a ring. The enemy here will flee. But when we touch on a ring, the enemy here must be flee. Pray for you. Pray for me. There ain't nothing we can do. Nothing we can do. Stop the enemy when I agree with you.
Right back.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. As diplomatic efforts continue to try to defuse the escalating crisis over Ukraine, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says there are no signs that Russia is slowing down its preparations for an invasion.
Simply put, we continue to see very troubling signs of Russian escalation, including new forces arriving at the Ukrainian border. We're in a window when an invasion could begin at any time. That includes during the Olympics. We're continuing to draw down our embassy, and we've also been very clear that any American citizens who remain in Ukraine should leave now.
After initially saying the West was exaggerating the threat of an invasion, now Ukraine is ringing the alarm. James Waterhouse is in the capital, Kyiv.
The country's Foreign Minister, Dmytro Kuleba, is concerned, like the US, about the growing number of Russian troops on the border. He too says he's seen intelligence, and that's new, that there are a growing number of Russian troops. Today is the second day of these joint exercises to the north, involving an estimated 30,000 Russian troops in Belarus. And also we've got new concerns to the south, in the Black Sea and Sea of Azov. Russian naval ships are going to be there from tomorrow carrying out missile exercises, but what they say that is in reality is an almost complete blockade of Ukraine's ports.
Russia says there's been a misunderstanding in the doping case of the Olympic figure skater Kamila Valieva. The Kremlin said she had Russia's absolute support, and it was important she competed and defeated everyone. It's been confirmed the 15-year-old tested positive for a banned heart medication in December. Laura Scott is in Beijing.
I think there are a lot of questions about the time it took between that sample on the 25th of December and the announcement from the Swedish laboratory on the 8th of February that that was a positive sample. Of course, it meant that she travelled here to Beijing, she competed, she won that gold medal, and now you've got a situation where the other medalists in this event, so there was USA in silver, Japan in bronze, and Canada in fourth, are now waiting in this limbo stage where there are no medals that have been handed out, and there is this investigation ongoing, and this all needs to be expedited because Valieva is due to be competing again on Tuesday.
Nicaragua's Center for Human Rights says 7 opposition activists have been given prison sentences of up to 13 years. They were convicted of undermining Nicaragua's national integrity. A 24-year-old student leader, Lester Alaman, who rose to fame after publicly calling on President Daniel Ortega to quit, was given 13 years. Also jailed are a former minister, Dora Maria Tellas, who later fell out with Mr. Ortega. BBC News. The World Health Organization says tens of thousands of new measles infections were reported in Afghanistan last month, along with nearly 160 deaths. Nearly all were children under 5. A WHO spokesman said the number of deaths was likely to increase sharply in the coming weeks. He said widespread malnutrition in Afghanistan had made people more vulnerable to illness. The WHO has been working on a vaccination campaign in the hardest-hit areas. The UN chief Antonio Guterres has urged the international community to strengthen its efforts to protect the oceans. Addressing a summit in France, Mr. Guterres called for greater action to rein in overfishing and to curb carbon emissions from shipping. His words were echoed by the US climate envoy, John Kerry.
It is the ocean that makes life on Earth possible. It produces more than half of the oxygen that we breathe, and even that is at risk. More than 50 to 80% of that oxygen comes from the life of the ocean. And indeed, the ocean provides food and livelihood for billions of people.
President Ebrahim Raisi says Iran is not pinning its hopes on the success of nuclear talks with world powers in Vienna. He said looking to the West had knocked Iranian foreign policy off balance, and his goal was to ratify that. The ongoing Vienna talks are aimed at salvaging the 2015 deal, which gave Iran sanctions relief in exchange for limiting its nuclear program. An opposition party in Ethiopia says its detained members are being deprived of food and water by the authorities. The Oromo Liberation Front says conditions are so bad that the health of the inmates is deteriorating daily. Several senior members of the OLF have been in prison for more than 2 years after being accused of terrorism and inciting violence. BBC News.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM, keep listening.
One in.
A hurricane we name, and we rough, whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you know that. We come here for mash up building, blow down things and take life. Flood out place. We no ramp. We no respect no one. So no take no chance with we. Listen to Adprem and prepare.
Hurricanes do happen, so
be prepared.
Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Best 100 FM encourages everyone to wear their mask, wash hands, and practice social distance. Vaccine is your choice. Be safe.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
Best 100 FM.
Best 100.5 FM brings you youth empowerment and resilience, a 30-minute program with Royton McLaren every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Your Monday nights will not be the same again. Managing stress, trauma? Let's talk on youth empowerment and resilience with Royton McLaren on Best 100.5 FM every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m.
Wagwan.
Guten Tag. Buongiorno.
We are
the Kingstones.
I think I love you, Best FM, because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you, Best FM, because you're better than the rest of them.
And love more, 'cause you open up the door.
Live, camera, volume. Live it up Fridays on Best 100 FM, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with I, Ibi Lion, each and every Friday, giving you the better vibes heard everywhere.
Some things that watch me fly on Jamaica.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
When you send me up, when you send me up, boss in a God. When you send me up, boss in a God, oh, boss in a God, oh, boss in a God, oh. Set me free from my jailer, set me free from my pain, set me free from all of the hurt, all of the shame. You're the giver of salvation, you're the giver of light. You are the truth, the resurrection, and the life. So when you see me, me a boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord, the boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord. God alone, I'm a shield, I'm a king. Me a boss about it. Me a boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord, the boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord. God alone, I'm a source, everything. Me a boss about it. Yeah, me a boss in a God, but not about material things. Cause everything on earth will fade away. I sing and keep my hallelujah and my praise rising to He who is everlasting. Yeah, me a boss in a God. Yeah, I'm proud with it. Nah, keep no secret, stand up in a crowd with it. All the glory, all the honor, yeah, Him get it. All the blessing them in my life, yeah, Him set it. The reason I'm a winner's cause the Savior's by my side. I thank God I am forgiven, I've been saved and sanctified. Through the tests and through the trials, all the times I could have died. I will brag, I will show off because of you, God. So when you see me, me a boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord, the boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord. God alone, I'm a shield, I'm a king. Be a boss about him. Be a boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord, the boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord. God alone, I'm a source, everything. Be a boss about him. So when you see me, me a boss in a God. Protect me from my enemy, boss in a God. God alone, I carry me, boss in a God, boss in a God, boss in a God. So when you see me, boss in a God. Protect me from my enemy, boss in a God. God alone, I carry me, boss in a God, boss in a God. So when you see me, boss in a Lord, boss in a Lord, the boss in a Lord, boss in a Lord.
Welcome back. J.A. is speaking. We're boasting in the Lord indeed right here on Best 100 FM. I am Orrett Montague. It is 16 minutes past 8 o'clock on this year, Friday, February 11, 2022. 3 days away from the big red white, the Valentine's Day. You know it's a worrisome day for some folks because that is when the right woman I watch just say, you know how it go. And then some people brand the day, them say them then the Valentine's thing cause a be Monday. I find that a lot of the people who do it that way just have whole heap of woman. So it's better to just say that you don't support the day, because otherwise you're going to have problems on the day. Alcubilan says Toronto is in the building. I tell him, morning boss, spread the word. Truth to Power says, good morning Monty. Thinking about the corruption taking place and the fact that we don't have a credible prosecutor, it's causing me to pull my hair out. I can't pull out even one strand. Well, a young lady, and she's nice and petite, if she can do that to herself. Volume for me please. We boasted in the Lord. We don't want to pull out our hair. There's a lot of locks that young lady pull out.
Set me free from my jailer, set me free from my pain, set me free from all of the hurt, all of the shame. You're the giver of salvation. You're the giver of light. You are the truth, the resurrection, and the life. So when you see me, me a boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord, the boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord. God alone, I'm a shield, I'm a king. Me a boss about him. Me a boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord, the boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord. God alone, I'm a source, everything. Me a boss about him. Yeah, me a boss in a God, but not about material things. Cause everything on earth will fade away. I sing and keep my hallelujah and my praise rising to He who is everlasting. Yeah, me a boss in a God. Yeah, I'm proud with it. Nah, keep no secret, stand up in a crowd with it. All the glory, all the honor, yeah, Him get it. All the blessing them in my life, yeah, Him set it. The reason I'm a winner's cause the Savior's by my side. I thank God I am forgiven. I've been saved and sanctified. Through the tests and through the trials, all the times I could have died. I will brag, I will show off because of you, God. So when you see me, me a boss in the Lord, boss in the Lord.
Another man who should be boasting this morning. We don't know if he is, but if he's aware, then he should be aware that poll come out that says that the boss is heading in the wrong direction. So they say. So Don Johnson did a poll that it's for one of our competitors, but all right. And Don Anderson, sorry, and apparently some 62% of you, the people, believe that the current government is heading in the wrong direction. Some 62%, more than a majority of you, the people, believe that this government is heading in the wrong direction. And in terms of what you believe are the most pressing, horrible needs, the needs that must get government attention now, it's crime. So you didn't guess wrong. If you were a guessing man, you bet crime a while ago when Monty was saying, what is the thing that you have told pollsters is of biggest concern to you? If you said crime, then you'd have won a prize. 82% of you said crime. Crime is your biggest concern. And jobs, they are right after, 54%. This is the government that promised you that you'd be able to sleep with your windows and doors open. And that you'd be waking up in the morning. You wouldn't wake up dead, him says. Him says so. Him say you wouldn't wake up dead. He said it. Well, if you don't want to say him, you can say the collective. You can say they said it. Yes. And in terms of jobs, is, as I said, some 54% of you are of the view that they are also quite pressing issues. I am disappointed though that only 16% of Jamaican people think that poverty and helping the poor is the most pressing national problem. 16%. That is less than the number of poor people in our society. I'm telling you the truth. So when 16% of you come out and say that you believe poverty and helping the poor is the most important thing, it make me wonder if it's bare uptown people them survey. And if it is that them survey bare uptown people, and the uptown people them are of the view that Andrew is doing foolishness because the country going in the wrong direction, then if I was Andrew, I would fret. Andrew, call him. The bro God thing, him going to forgive you for it if you call him. No, volume, I don't want to tell him myself. Make that tell him.
When we remember Zion, cause the wicked carry us away, captivity required from us a song. How can we sing Rastafari song in a strange land? Oh, when the and the rapists, them burn out clean. Oh, when them burn up in a fire just like a piece of lumber. Oh, when dirty heart and bad man burn out clean. Oh, I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. Alliance a shout, shout, shout. I tell them I sing, Jamaica shout. Praise the Lord. Cause when Judge open me get them biting. What's in a gun, no knife, no inside. And I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna shout. No terrorists. If I and I have the wings of a dove. If I have the wings of a dove, I would fly.
Boy, I was trying to send out our YouTube link, but boy, I'm having difficulty. I so send it. Morning, Mr. Garfield McDonald. We tell him morning, boss, big up yourself, the principal out by New Day. Morning, boss, I hope that all is well. The gentleman, Mr. Garfield McDonald, that I just told you about, is a trailblazer, you know. Is one of them people who blaze trails and set trends. So I know that he would have some brilliant ideas for this government. Andrew promised, and not the Minister of Education, Andrew, the Prime Minister. He has promised that schools will be rolled out open properly, and he will tell you how very soon. Faval didn't come out and tell you, Andrew come out and tell you. It's the same thing. When there's bad news, this Prime Minister is never the one at the front. When them have to tell you something bad, this Prime Minister is never the one at the front. When they have to bring you good news, because a lot of people will be ecstatic that schools are reopening and that's the thing when get back to normal. When they have to tell you good news, this Prime Minister heads the line. Is like one of them pitney you don't like in school. Because every time they know the answer, they hold up the hand 6 times, they hold up the hand 7 times, and they don't give you a chance. Well, Andrew know the answer to the reopening of school. Andrew was quick to be telling us that school will reopen soon and all the drama. Andrew, come and tell the people about the minimum wage. Andrew, come and tell the people how the chicken are going to go. It cannot be that Jamaican people go and sit down and accept $50 gone on the chicken just so. Your government has announced a $912 billion budget. Out of that budget, I think it's 500 and something million going to spend on you. The rest going to service debt. But the point is, it cannot be that they plan to burden you so much with so much more taxes and they're not allowing you to earn a pittance more in your pocket. It cannot be that the things you need to live, El Shaddai indeed. It cannot be that the things you need to live continue to cost you more and you don't see pittance more come in your pocket. It cannot be. They can't want more from you and you have less to give. It cannot be. So we want to say morning and a hefty big up to some of our people. Mr. Bernard out by the Jampet. Is a Jampet gas station or is a Marco? I don't remember the one on Featherbed Lane. Morning, boss. I hope that all is well. Terence, the taxi driver, tells me that you're a big trainer. You train people to use the pump and all of that. You must tell your boss when he meet with the other people in the gasoline retailers union, thanks, that we want them to continue to insist that some of the tax that is gone on the gas must come off. Yes, we know that Nigel have to find $912 billion because him set it so. And we know that of the $912 billion, near $400 billion of it is to pay back loan that Nigel and the ones before him borrowed. We know all of that. But we're saying with all of that, you must remember the poor. You must remember that when you put $50 on the chicken, you're sending a man to start to thief fowl. I tell you, right now farmers are worried about predatory larceny. We must thank the government. Our Shepia Govex, the government going to give some farmers some money who lose some things in the rains that fall 2 weeks ago. We have to mention it, or the man say we buy us, eh? So we have to mention it, I must tell you. But it cannot be that our farmers who are already concerned about their goats will have to start watching them fowl to now. But then you mightn't have to watch no fowl because nobody now can buy chicken at $400 a pound We're running to the break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, the conversation with Damien Gordon, we want to find out what his views are on the LGE postponement, and we also have to find out the big boss's views on the throne speech. And then we speak to the people from JFJ, the Jamaicans for Justice, and they have to tell us about the Armadale. And a comment, if you don't mind, on the fact that your government plan to push this bail act again. We want to be certain that it isn't your rights. It isn't your rights that they're planning to come and trample on. Don't go anywhere. Stay with Bess.
Jamaican children trod holy. Jah prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy.
We'll be right back.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM. Keep listening.
And love more. 'Cause you open up the door.
Live, camera, volume. Live it up Fridays on Bess 100 FM. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with I, Ibi Lion, each and every Friday. Giving you the better vibes, heard everywhere.
On a natural some things that watch me fly. On Jamaica.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
We don't care when nobody wants set. As long as the father sit on the throne. We can't, we want dead be hungry. I will not suffer. I will not beg no bread. You hear what me say? God is my provider. I will not beg no bread. You know the reason why? Him and me daddy, oh. Him and me daddy, oh. Him and me daddy, oh. Jesus and me daddy, oh. When I need peace, He's Jehovah Shalom. When I'm sick in my body, yeah, He is Jehovah.
Welcome back. JA is speaking, and we're speaking live from the studios of Bess 100 FM, where you're getting the better vibes. I'm Orrett Montague. It is 31 minutes past 8 o'clock, and we're about to have a conversation with your political commentator, the people's political commentator, because him talk truth, the big boss lecturer at the University of the West Indies in government, Mr. Damien Gordon. I have to say morning first, really quick. I can't listen to them sweet gospel and not tell me good friend. Mrs. Miller, turn your cheek. Morning. Sandra, turn your cheek. Morning. Miss Panka, turn your cheek. Morning. Hey, Damien, don't get vexed. Move your ears from the move your ears from the phone, boss. I hope that all is well. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Thanks for having me again, Orrett.
Welcome, boss, and thank you for joining us. A throne speech this week, big moment. The Queen's representative on our beautiful island addressed the Parliament this week. Addressed Her Majesty's Parliament. What did you make of the presentation? Were the right things said?
Didn't hear that, Orrett.
I was asking you what you made of the presentation, the throne speech.
Alright, unfortunately, I missed the throne speech, to be honest with you. You can probably give me a rundown.
But I
really missed it. I did miss it for the first time. I had a really hectic week, so I was not able to watch or read it.
I must tell you, you didn't miss anything. No, you didn't miss anything. I'm not telling no lie. You asked me to tell you how the throne speech go, and I'm telling you that you didn't miss anything.
I mean, perhaps I think most of us by now come to expect a certain level of repetitiveness and within the tone speeches. I don't think that there's anything new. There's any novelty in the tone speech from year to year.
Well, I found one little thing different this year. I don't know. Somebody made the Governor General tell lie. I don't normally see Governor Generals tell. I don't know. But Boris Johnson couldn't.
Governor General is really, even though the Governor General is the Queen's representative, the Governor General also serves the government, and as such, the Governor General's role is also to make the government look good and to project optimism and hope for the future. So it's about political correctness as well. You can't be negative as a Governor General. So you have to be positive.
Listeners, the Governor General, you didn't hear the throne speech. The Governor General is of the view that the SOEs are working.
But you find that laughable. There's a disconnect in Jamaica, and there's a dissonance in Jamaica. People, based on their background and their sense of their own sense of security, and if they're not impacted by a phenomenon, they may view the phenomenon differently from the people who are directly impacted by that phenomenon. It is not strange to find that people like the Governor General and those who are isolated from the risk and the abuses and all of those concerns may find that the SOEs are working relative to those who have to encounter and face the brutality and the excessiveness on a daily basis. So that's not surprising to me. It just shows how out of touch and aloof some persons can be in Jamaica.
Well, and put that against the fact that the recent poll, a Bill Johnson poll, is of the view that 82% of Jamaicans believe or say that the crime problem is the biggest problem on the land. Could the same 82% be of the view that the SOEs are working?
Yeah, but you cannot speak. The problem with interviewing persons about the SOE is that you're interviewing ordinary Jamaicans who live in communities where the SOEs are not operational. You have to pose those questions directly to persons who live in communities where the SOEs are operational. And you have to contextualize what it means when you say that the SOE is working. Of course, when the SOE is in place, persons within those communities feel a greater sense of immediate safety. However, if you look at the bigger picture, the SOE has not had a significant impact on reducing violent crimes nationally, because it simply displaces crime and displaces violence. Persons move about the country and transfer their violent behavior and criminal behavior to other areas. So in the grand scheme, it does not address the fundamental issues, which is really the fact that we have a gap in terms of our security architecture that allows crime and violence to flourish on a national basis. So that is really the significant issue here. Temporary relief is not enough. We need permanent solution. That is not sufficient.
Indeed. A permanent solution that seems to be on the horizon, based on the throne speech, is the fact that the government intends in this parliamentary year to gazette the boundaries of the cockpit country. But they had a meeting where they didn't invite Mr. Curry and all of that. Mr. Curry is not exactly on board with them as to where the boundaries are. You think the government may be asking for problems rushing to gazette it without proper consultation? They're not having consultation in the naming of Portmore Parish either. A councillor on the program last week tell me nobody don't talk to them and ask them nothing.
Yeah, and it is obvious to me that the government may not have learned any lessons from how it had dealt with the whole NIDS affair, the lack of consultation, and what would have been the end result in terms of the Supreme Court nullifying NIDS. We are living the type of democracy within which you operate, the participatory democracy, and you have a wide range of stakeholders. You cannot bypass these stakeholders, because if you bypass these stakeholders, you're not going to get buy-in. You're not going to build consensus. What you're going to get is social resistance to any plan, initiative, or program. So bypassing consensus, bypassing dialogue is certainly not an approach that is consistent with the kind of democracy within which you operate. And there are lessons from the Jamaican context to prove that if you bypass consultation, this is what might very well happen. So I'm not sure the government is going on the right path with that approach.
Indeed, it's a worry. In fact, 54% of the respondents to the same poll that I just mentioned are of the view that the government is not going down the right path at all with anything. Is it why the government postponed the LGE, the local government elections?
Yeah, there are a number of factors at play. Obviously, the local government election is really, to me, in the grand scheme of things, insignificant. When you compare what it is required to stage or to prepare for the local government election against the expected turnout, you realize that automatically it amounts to a waste of resources, because the return doesn't match the investment. Because you're going to pay so much to stage a local government election, and the turnout is going to be ridiculously low. So it will be a waste of scarce resources at a time like this. But the Prime Minister certainly has read the room, and he also understands that the popularity of the government and himself is not as high as it was when he was elected a year or so ago. The mood of the voters and Jamaican citizens has obviously shifted. They have become far more disinterested, and they are now far less favorable to the Prime Minister and the governing party due to a number of recent developments. And I'm sure that he understands that the water is not as safe for him as it was maybe a year or two ago. And if you have to call it and take that risk, why do that? I think that's what he calculated. That it's not necessary for me to take that risk right now.
He felt like 2022 would become 1986.
I'm not sure if the PNP would overturn the result from the general election, because that has really ever happened. The party that wins the general.
1986. It happened in 1986.
It is called after.
It happened in 1986.
Remember that the election would have been 1980 and 1983, so there was significant time between the general and the local. But no, the general was like a year ago, and the local is a year after. I cannot imagine
the general was
the ruling party's popularity would have waned so badly that it loses coming from a landslide victory. So I didn't expect them to lose. They may lose some seats or councils, but I didn't expect them to lose.
The general was 2 years ago. I must tell you, I wouldn't have been surprised if I saw an 86.
I don't see anything that suggests to me that the opposition is so much more popular today than it was 2 years ago. What I believe is that the voters are just simply more disinterested. It's not that they have shifted from one party to the next. They have just become more disconnected and disinterested
with both parties. With both
political parties, to a great extent. But I do see an opening for the People's National Party, in the sense that we have two parties. So when people are angry at one, they will automatically switch to the other. So that is an opening for the People's National Party.
Well, we have more than...
The National Party needs to get this act together,
We have
as an alternative.
Indeed, we have more than two, but I see what I mean. The PNP often...
And you know what, my apologies, because I spoke to Mr. Dave Joseph Patterson the other day. We have more than two. I must recognize that there are more than two options.
Indeed.
So my apologies for making that statement. It was an inaccurate statement. You have more than two options in our system.
Indeed. The throne speech, just quickly to finish up this part of the discussion, the throne speech also touched a number of acts that we can collectively call acts that I believe the government wants to use to help people feel safer. The firearms bill, prohibition, restriction, and regulation.
Right. I saw those developments with respect to the proposed. Well, all right. So what I saw may be different from the tone speed, because I saw some development with respect to some proposals about amendment to the Firearm Act in terms of lengthening and making the sentences more harsher for persons who are caught with illegal firearm. I'm not sure if what you're saying is aligned to the proposed changes introduced by the government the other day. So I'm not sure they're aligned.
Well, the government seems to be. Are they clutching at straws? Do they want us to get the impression that a lot more is happening security-wise? Because we still don't see any comprehensive crime plan. But we hear the Governor General talking about touching the Bail Act. The last time the government wanted to touch the Bail Act, Malahoo Fort wanted people to sit down in jail for 1 year without charge. Can we expect, or do you think the government will be brave?
Yeah. But this is the direction that the state has been heading into. The idea of responding to violence and public insecurity by adopting draconian measures, by restricting people's fundamental rights and freedom. And that has never worked. It is a strategy that we have been trying from the colonial days. What it does, it creates a further trust deficit between government and citizens. Citizens increasingly resent the state, and therefore they are increasingly less likely to comply with the state in terms of criminal investigation matters. That is not positive from the perspective of a civilized democratic society. We need to find ways to build the bridges and to increase trust and good relationship between citizens and the state. We're having a system where citizens live in fear of abuse and victimization at the hands of the state. That does not, what they're going to do, they're going to turn to alternative systems of resolving violence, and it is going to strengthen the position of the gangs in these communities, because people will develop greater level of faith in the gang to protect them and to serve them than they do in the state. It's a failed approach that has never worked, and it's a knee-jerk approach as well. You don't have a solution, so you do what is the easiest thing, which is to really transform into a police state and abuse people's rights.
I was going to go to that.
Draconian measures.
It is also requiring. Dependence on a system that itself is flawed, because the police force, the police system,
is highly corrupt too.
There you go.
So you have corrupt people you have persons who are breaking the law, actively enforcing the law. That dynamic that does not work. You have to have reputable, professional, ethical people in the police force. Not just in the police force. In the public sector, in government too. It's a linked problem. You can't fix the problem by just focusing on one thing alone. You have to look at the various links. You connect the dots and fix the entire system. There are many facets, and you can't just look at the one facet, which is just about arresting those who produce violence. What about the other factors? What about the mobilization of resources?
Yes.
The entry of illegal guns into the island? Or we investigate crime? Or we gather intelligence? There's so many facets of this issue that we continue to overlook.
Indeed, I have to rush through some of the other things in the speech really quickly. He mentioned a lot of cash things. When I say cash things, I mean the government is planning to spend. We know that because Nigel Clark announced a $912 billion budget right after the throne speech. 912 billion, listeners. That is about 8% or some more than last year's. So that budget has to be financed. But amongst the spending plans are plans for the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. They say they're starting some whole heap of constructions with a 4-lane highway connecting Yallas to Harbour View and all of that. Will we be able to afford all of that in the fiscal year coming? And is the government turning a blind eye to the poverty in the society? The minimum wage hasn't moved.
We're not sure how much of the budget will be dedicated to social expenditures and various relief programs and provision of financial aid to the poor. So I guess we'll have to wait and see before we're in a position to ask that question.
But it seems that enough of it going to spend on road. If this is to go,
the budget is 900 odd billion. So there's
but
room
only
for
500, another that we know go and spend on the people, because some 300 odd billion is debt servicing.
True. And then the fact is that even though the budget this year is likely to be higher than the budget last year, we have to factor in inflation.
There you go.
This year is much higher than last year.
There you go.
The value of $919 billion this year is not the same as the value of it last year. You know,
it's a much less budget.
Very important thing. But I like to have the full information, so I will wait for the presentation to make my assessment.
March 8, listeners, March 8. We have to run shortly, but a quick comment before we run on that other matter, the local government election that never keep. Would you said that you don't think the PNP would have won. I understand that.
I think the PNP may have made some inroads, which for me is sufficient, because I don't think the local government election would be the true test of the party's resurgence. I think it prepares the party for the general, and the party have a good better understanding of where it is now relative to last 2020. So I think the party would say, well, we're on a position to resurge. It would seem like we're heading in the right direction, and they could have used the local government election as a measurement of that. But even if they kept a couple more councils or maybe a couple divisions that they lost the last time, they would say to themselves, well, it seems that we are heading in the right direction. Things are looking positive.
But we hear through the rumor mill. Come close, we're whispering. We hear that there were some arguments internally in the JLP, and that persons weren't so sure whether Andrew was still the most popular man to be leading the party in any election at all. Is he? In your view, is there room now in the JLP for a competitor?
No, the JLP is Andrew Holness's party, and it has spent the last several years consolidating the party. Meaning you'd have strategically placed his loyalists in the most important position. I'm quite sure that the delegate list, if an internal election is to be called tomorrow, is padded. Padded is not the correct word, but I'm quite sure that the structures of the party, he would have first customized and personalized the structures of the party to ensure that his position as party leader is unchallengeable. So Andrew is a smart. One thing that's about Andrew Holness, he's a strategist. He's a tactician.
Some people
very
are
smart.
Some
I'm sure
people
that
are,
him and his allies would have spent the last several years consolidating the structures of the party to ensure that his position as party leader is almost certain until he decides to move on.
Some people are also saying that this is your final comment, because we really have to run. But some people are also saying that this prime minister got away. This prime minister is waiting for Portmore to become a parish, and it is because Portmore isn't a parish yet. What you say to that? The plan to take St. Catherine by cutting Portmore away.
Yeah, but Portmore has traditionally been aligned in terms of how Portmore residents have voted to the People's National Party.
And so that has given us...
I never thought of that, to be honest with you. I never thought of that. That may be conspiracy theory.
Well, Norman, no, it wouldn't be conspiracy at all. Norman Scott wouldn't.
That is rational.
Norman Scott wouldn't be mayor anymore. Norman Scott is mayor because he gets support from the Portmore councils in the St. Catherine Parish Council.
But I don't think the Portmore becoming a parish capital. I'm not sure.
Their councils wouldn't vote anymore in the St.
That is going to come to fruition anytime soon. I'm not sure if that it will come to fruition anytime soon. I see some serious social challenges and some serious contestation and intense debates about this new plan. So I'm not sure when this is likely to come to fruition, and I'm not even sure if I think this is a conversation that we can have several years from now. But I'm not sure in the context of a pandemic, when people are worried about other pressing day-to-day issues, that this is really or should be treated as a priority of the government. I'm not sure adding another parish when all the current parishes are underdeveloped, poor infrastructure, and have so many pressing needs to be fixed and addressed, that adding an additional parish is really something that should be seen as a priority right now.
Indeed. So it looks like you have to work with Norman, Scott, St. Catherine. Thank you very much for the contribution this morning, Mr. Gordon.
Thanks for having me, Orrett.
Thank you. Listeners, your political commentator, I tell you, is the people's political commentator, because nobody don't buy out the boss. Mr. Damian Gordon, lecturer at the University of the West Indies. And boy, we have to run into a conversation right now to talk about Armadale. You know how I am touched and affected by these issues. So we're going to have a conversation with Ms. Michael Jackson, the CEO of the JFJ, the Jamaicans for Justice. And this week they spoke out about the Armadales, I'll call it a scandal because it still is, the Access to Information Appeal Tribunal. They have decided that some of the things that have been kept secret from you about Armadale, and I must remind you that in the Armadale incident, 7 children were killed by fire. 7 at the children's home. And we hear that all type of dirtiness used to take place there, and all of that was buried in the ash. Well, now a tribunal is saying that the ash must be put together so that we can see the picture behind it. We have the wonderful Miss Jackson. And welcome to the program. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and I'm happy to be here. And I hear your passion about it, and certainly we share the same.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. You came out this week, your organization, Jamaicans for Justice, saying that the Access to Information Tribunal, the Appeal Tribunal from the ATI, made a good decision Friday, January 28th, when they announced that too much secret kept. More needs to be told. What needs to be told? What are some of the secrets that need to be revealed from the Armadale file?
All right, thank you so much. I just want to point out that the appellant in the matter, Alexis Goff, would have been the one who would have engaged JFJ to make the appeals, because he would have actually been making some requests, such as JFJ as well. Since about 2015, JFJ would have been earlier when the Armadale fire occurred. Now, one of the things that the government agencies were stating was that the disciplinary measures that were supposedly taken out against the perpetrators, if you will, they are for personal nature, in which case they were arguing that these documents should be exempted from being shared with the public. And Alexis Goff said absolutely not. These are state agents. This is a public matter of concern for all Jamaicans, and therefore it should be made public. The other provisions that they were arguing for to be exempted from disclosure was the fact that these documents may very well be defamatory to the parties involved. And the ATI tribunal ruled to Alexis' favor to say, listen to me. At the end of the day, what the ATI allows you is a defense if defamation comes into play, but certainly it is not reasonable grounds for us to say that these documents should be exempted. What are these documents? You're talking about the disciplinary measures which I mentioned earlier, but also the transcript of the Commission of Inquiry. So when we got the transcript eventually, it was heavily redacted. So you may have asked a question to one of the children, for example, how do you feel? What was the impact of the fire and the circumstances? What were some of the psychosocial, mental issues? And the responses of the children were redacted. We're saying in a matter of public interest, this can't be.
Of course
How can we assured?
I want some of our listeners. Hold on, Ms. Jackson. I want some of our listeners to understand what you're saying, because you see some of the nice, pretty words are going over some of the people's head, and we must make sure they understand. Listeners, the pitney them that they used to beat at Armadale, the stories about the beating, the people at Armadale say you don't need to know. Because it's private information between the pitney and the beater. It will sum up that one, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's private information between the pitney and the beater. It's not your business. But we're glad that they've changed their mind. The appeal court, the appeal tribunal, that don't mean that the information won't be forthcoming anytime soon. I must remind you of that, Ms. Jackson. And the other matter is, when the children were before the tribunal explaining how they feel or how they've been meant to feel and some of the things that took place, Miss Jackson is telling you, Jamaica, that they don't want you to know that either. They don't want you to know what the children had to say. So what will take place now that a tribunal has said that we have to know?
Well, and I just want
Ms.
to
Jackson?
point out a couple of things.
What is the next step now that?
Government agency, sorry?
Yes, go ahead. I wasn't hearing it before.
Yes. Okay, the government agents can actually appeal the ruling. That's the first thing. It would be unfortunate if they do, and we stand ready to counter such appeal if it does happen. But what we're also doing is just to do a little check on the documents that we would have received to date versus what remains outstanding to ensure that Jamaica can become aware of the circumstances of the fire and ensure that this situation does not happen again. And because we have concerns that it continues to happen when we look at the Ray Cobre juvenile facility, for example, where children were again locked up in a room and a key could not readily be found. So these are the kind of disciplinary measures that are being meted out against our children. Lockdown measures and jail lockdown, I think, is the terminology that they have for a particular area at the juvenile center where children are disciplined. And I use the word disciplined here quite sarcastically because the kind of abuse that our children are going through, those are not disciplinary measures. It's abuse, quite frankly.
And these are children you're talking, listeners, Ms. Jackson is talking about children in state care.
Children in state care, children in juvenile centers, lockups as we call it. Children, for example, where the state and the parents in some instance would have deemed these children uncontrollable.
Right.
It's a whole different conversation to be had. Yes, but these are.
But all of it is still defined as state care.
Yes.
So the state really should have as much interest as you do in finding out what exactly happened to the children they are caring.
I didn't hear that, sorry.
So the state, in fact, should have as much interest as you do in finding out exactly what is happening with the children they are caring.
Finding out and putting in measures to prevent it from happening again.
Indeed.
And putting persons to account, keep them accountable. We can't have these things happening to our children. And it's against the very laws of this land. And again, JFJ stand resolute in this particular matter.
Of course. Are any of these agencies buckling? Are any of them coming? Because listeners, the people who want to keep the information away include the Ministry of Justice, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Education, the Department of Correctional Services, the Ministry of Health, the Office of the Services Commission, the JCF, and the Office of the Cabinet, and even the St. Anne Municipal Corporation. They're all party. Any of them budging, any of them saying, okay, let us stop this madness and just cooperate and talk the truth?
We wouldn't have heard anything as yet, but I want to point out is that the level of disclosure varies across the different agents. So one may give a page 5 to 7, another one give a page 10 to something else of the document. So even how they're disclosed in the document is not equal in the distribution.
Indeed.
It's not the same across the board, so to speak, which is another cause for concern, that how the information is being disseminated under the Access to Information Act, it varies too much. There is no standard. So that's a different conversation that JFJ is pushing, that we must amend this Access to Information Act when you talk about the high levels of corruption as well in the country. And if the government is really serious about transparency, it is within their best interest, again, to ensure that this particular piece of legislation is amended to actually make it make sense.
Indeed. Well, we thank you so much for joining us this morning and explaining this one to us. We hope the information comes to light, all of it. And you're quite right. The way that access to information is collated does need to change.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. This is Miss Michael Jackson there, the CEO of the Jamaicans for Justice. And we are happy that there are people who care so much about our children that they won't let things like Armadale just slip and disappear. Remember Mario Dean? We run to the break. If you can tell me who Mario Dean is when we come back, I might give you some phone credit. Don't go anywhere. Stay with Bess. The phone lines are yours when we come back.
We'll be right back.
easy. Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah! Praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him. And the new name of Jah, if you tie me up. And the new name of Jah, if you mix me up. So them evil, so them lie, so them corrupt. Scheming and them planning, but we not give up. Jehovah and the one way you hold me up. You know the Father we put the first. Dan Jaja, they done with the name Dan Jaja, super cat him come and then do it and dada. They done shit there. Dan Mama, wicked and evil, Jah confess slaughter. Rule with in the way and the whole scripture. And live all faith and night and the holy water. The need not the glass.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM, keep listening.
We're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. But everybody have a role to play, so make we work together and follow the plan. Whether rich or poor or where you come from, hurricanes affect everyone, so be prepared. Prevention is better than cure. Be prepared. Listen to ADPEM. A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Vijam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vijam Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Love. Run it. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. All I know is that is only protect your life. It's the one and only. Even people will kill you slowly. All I know is that is only protect your life, it's the one and only. Evil people will kill you slowly. You see, faith is a key that opens all doors. Yeah, if you believe, patient my brother, and you will receive, yeah. Oh, not offended by negative things that people say. Oh, oh, popcorn says again. All I know is that is only protect your life.
Welcome back to the program. JA speaking. I'm your host, Orrett Montague, and of course, we come to you live from the studios of Bess 100 FM, where you're getting the better vibes, and you can pick up that stream or listen to the program, watch the program, however you want to call it, at Monty O one word, Monty O on YouTube and all of that. And you can also watch us live at www.bessfm.com. Of course, 100.1, 357 and 100.9 are the numbers on our FM dial. Twitch, Bess 100 FM. That's twitch.tv if you never know. We're running to the phone lines. You know the numbers to call, 619-1508 or 279-8473. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yes, Mr. Montague. Good morning, sir.
Morning, boss.
Yes, sir. You want the quiz now?
If Go on, my boss. Go on, my boss. Go on.
Yeah, man, the guy there, where they put in custody and bring the police station for us, Cliff.
Yes.
And the duty officer never liked how he was speaking to her.
Mario Dean.
Yeah, she put him against some madman account to the report. And the rest is history.
Yes. Dead.
So do I get the credit now?
Just give the number to the engineer, man, and we'll send it to you. That's
but
the
I'll
least
say
part.
something more to you still before that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. George Wright kind of bring back some memory to me, I think the guy that Mr. Goldie never wanted to walk with them yesterday. Yes, all right. In 1972, I can recall when Robert Lightburn and Mr. Banner.
Hold on, Mr. Goldie. You said the guy who Mr. Golden didn't want to walk with him. Yesterday,
that's Mr. George Wright. So I say he has brought back some memory to me. So after the 1972 general election, when Mr. Sherrill lost to Michael Manley, towards the JLP MP resigned from the party and form an independent thing. That was Robert Lightburn and a guy named Dr. Adrian Banner.
Robert Lightburn being the father of Dorothy Lightburn?
I've been told that's Dorothy Lightburn uncle.
Oh,
that's what
uncle.
I've been told. I don't know.
Okay, we're going to check.
Yes. So this Banner now, those two MP were from St. Thomas, So I don't know the arrangement at the time if they did sit with the opposition, because we have been told that.
But we don't really business with what arrangements are, I must tell you this. Mr. George Wright has said that he continues to support the programs and policies of the government. Therefore, if he can...
Yeah, many already, and again, Bruce Golding and what guy named dead with the Ghana? Who got to name? The Brown brother, them, man. Bruce Golding in 1970, before the NDM.
Yeah.
Bruce Golding and the member of parliament were independent, Did they sit with the opposition?
No.
Somebody could look, research those things and let us know what's going on.
But in this instance, because even then, the Bruce Golden situation you described would have been a Bruce Golden that would not, at that time, be interested in supporting all of the programs and policies of the JLP.
Yeah, I know.
But this
Wright,
George Wright...
but Mr. Wright should apply to the PNP for membership.
But no, the PNP wouldn't accept him.
I think they would. If once he apply, I think they would.
No, I don't think the
people so easy, like the JLP. Yeah, man, and Mrs. Gardner can tell you that. She can attest to it. PNP doesn't run people, so policy can't running people, Mr. Montague.
So how much people run under Mr. Golden?
Pardon me?
How much people run since Mr. Golden leading it?
Run where?
Well, the young lady.
Mr. Montague.
Wait, now the young lady who used to run in the Trafalgar Division, Easton Douglas's daughter Carrie Douglas, who we found out this morning turned down the planning permission for the construction of what was going to be Kingston's largest tower. She run. That young lady who run for council out in the Papine Division. What's her name again? Help me out. Them did shoot after her with big rifle, and she never get licked despite the fact they were standing across the road from her. That one, Venetia Phillips. I call it. I knew it when I asked you, so I'll call it Venetia Phillips. And
you can't say it, but I won't say it.
And what about the one that come out and said that the general secretary of the PNP touch up little girl when he was doctor? It was an allegation that she apologized for, I believe, and that she's still in the court for now. She don't apologize for it. She's still in the court. Still before the courts. I think what I was. You get the point. You get the point. I'm sure.
So why not mention Mr. Palwell and the people Crawford are withdrawn from the leadership.
But you even added more. Made it tough.
Why you never go there, so?
I think
you see, the PNP is a product,
It's a product.
Yes, it is a product. And me will tell you, I'm a farmer, you see?
Yes.
And if you have the damage and slight damage good up front, the prospective customer, them will turn them back, So when you have slighted damage and damaged product at the back and put the fresh one up front, that you will get sealed there, so. Prospect because I will patronize you.
All right, my boss, I hear you.
You want to turn over to the operating on call?
Yes, man. Hold the line. Leave it up with the engineer.
Big up yourself.
Yes, boss. Thank you. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Hello, morning, Mr. Montague.
Yes, morning. Welcome.
Morning to your listeners and your callers.
Mm-hmm.
One Barbados dollar value 77 Jamaican dollar.
One Bajan is 77 Jamaican now?
Yeah, if you go to Barbados, go work, and you send $1 into Jamaica, you get $77.
That level, man. The people didn't understand what you mean.
One Cayman dollar value 188 Jamaican dollar.
Uh-huh.
And one of the problems we're having in Portmore now, you see, is that the gullies weren't clean. The Passage Fort Gully, the Passage Fort Road Gully that leads to Cayman and Spark. All callaloo growing in the gully. Madman a cut callaloo in the gully and I eat it. All sorrel growing in the gully.
So we have traffic problems.
Why did the base in Portmore like this? What they planning? What they planning to turn Portmore into a garrison or a little ghetto place?
No, it's parish, man. Come on, it's parish. Don't do that. They don't want to turn the place into no garrison.
Mr. Montague.
Yes.
I don't want. Let me tell you, see the PNP and the JLP.
Yes.
They are two criminal organizations, and we can prove that. Yeah.
You mean like Shower Posse and clans and all the others?
No, the Shower Posse and the clan are products and byproducts of PNP and JLP criminal organization. They are the fragments.
Okay, so it's like Hamas in the Middle East, where they have a set that sit in parliament in suit and a set that run up and down and shoot after Israel with gun.
No, they're bigger than Hamas. They are like the Kremlin.
Oh, it's like Hezbollah in Lebanon.
The Kremlin.
Oh, it's like Putin.
Vladimir Putin, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
You know, Vladimir Putin is the richest politician in the world.
If Putin here, you say that he would pies you.
I'm joking. 90 billion US.
Mr. Putin, Mr. Putin disputes that Mr. Putin is a president who earns a wage. No president earns so much. So Mr. Putin wouldn't agree with you.
Go check Forbes magazine.
I know, man. I know what you're saying. And I am saying to you, Mr. Putin does not agree. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I understand, you know. Mr. Montague.
Yes.
The people in Portmore, let me tell you something about Portmore. Portmore is the most knowledge-based community in the Caribbean.
Okay.
And Latin America.
Okay.
Portmore have the most university graduates of all the communities in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. And people buy them house in Portmore, and Portmore is the best paid property tax community in Jamaica.
Yeah,
and what they're trying to do to people, and then the average house in Portmore value $7 million. And then those are in Waterford. If you live in Independent City, your house may value up to $15 million. And if you live at Caribbean Estate, $60 million.
Yes.
So listen me now. And so we are going to have so much people are murdered in a Portmore. Portmore gully them now clean. And the social fabric of Portmore are break down. And everybody does a merriment. What is the function of the mayor in Portmore? What is his role and function?
Well, garbage collection, municipal roads, street lights, signage for businesses, them sort of things.
Look here. Portmore have the most illegal businesses in Jamaica.
I agree because the councillor there, the mayor there don't drop catch, you know.
The mayor?
Him don't drop catch. So
if you're not supervising him, councillors.
If you put up a business sign in Portmore, try know that you're better ready to pay the fine if they come to you don't get permission or you didn't sign up whatever to put up your sign.
Mr. Montague. Why is it that so many people leave in Portmore every day and are going to Kingston and Arthurtree and downtown go look work? Why?
I don't know. There's quite a lot of work in Portmore if you look at all the call centers throwing up.
Listen, what I'm going to tell you this now.
Yes.
The business is in Portmore. All the man who are jerk chicken on the sidewalk. They need to be registered with the register of companies. And they need to put proper accounting system in their business. And they need to have strict point of sales of the business where they issue receipt to their customers. You hear me tell you?
Yes.
Because you cannot have people sending them children to some school in Portmore and them getting them 5 CXP and them degree and them cape. And there's no proper business structure in Portmore. It can't work in my back.
Well,
what is the name of the mayor of Portmore? Leon Mitchell?
Leon Thomas, but I hear...
Leon Thomas?
Yes.
Well, listen to me now. Tamante.
Yes.
My name Neville.
Neville Carter.
Last year, yeah, my name Neville. My mother said me not to call out my surname on the radio. My mother, she has 79. And she getting a pension from her work, her factory work. And she getting a pension from the NIS. And it don't add up to $20,000 a month, the two pension them. It never come to 15,000.
Yeah, and
my mother is 79 and she live in 100 gardens. Listen me.
And at them time you need medication and having to go to doctor all the time and all that.
And the state that me support more in right now. I call in Mr. Leon Thomas to resign tomorrow morning in the name of God from Portmore. Both him and him council.
Wow.
They need to leave the city. They need to leave the city. And all the communities, committees that they're setting up to bring Portmore a parish. And who control the community, Mr. Weekly?
Wow. Is it that bad?
Tell him and him band of merrymen to leave Portmore citizens alone and make them build them community because they're running two organizations that is bringing crime and poverty to the knowledge base of Portmore. They are an insult to the intelligence of the people of Portmore in Amabad.
All right.
I'm a big and serious, you know.
I can hear the seriousness.
You see the goal when I look on behind my house right now in Portmore. Boss man. Portmore is the only community where me ever live with them drive around and tell you for go pay a property tax in my back.
I must make you know that some large gullies are major gullies that government has to be involved in their cleaning. Like, for example, Sandy Gully out in town. You wouldn't expect...
We pay our property tax for the Portmore to be clean and pretty. Right now, all the trees in Portmore want to be pruned. They want to be pruned.
Oh, well, it moved from the drain.
All the bankings, all of these watermen that go look work in Kingston from
I'll personally tell the mayor how upset you are this morning. I'll personally make sure I'm here. I thank you for the contribution.
Tell Leon Thomas.
No, man, I am going to make sure I personally tell.
Tomorrow morning in the name of Jesus Christ, man, and leave the city.
All right. Thank you, Neville. We have to run.
All the best here.
Yes, boss. Thank you. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, morning. Walk on, Corey. $3. You can imagine. And we just hear that is near $30 gone on the gas from January. So when you draw to my attention that is $3 going on it nearly every week, I was shocked. I said, let me do some maths. Let me call in Mr. Newman. Mr. Newman confirmed $3. Over 10%, 15% gone on gas price from January to now. Tell the people.
Yeah, but one of my main issues with it also is that it has been $3.06 for the past 3 weeks. And if you are using whatever formula you're using, I don't see how is it that you are going to be constant at $3.06 every week unless you are putting a price to it and not necessarily using the formula that they have. I don't know the formula. Nobody knows the formula.
But there's no wonder that listeners are telling me that some taxi drivers are charging their own rates. So the 130 or 120 that they are supposed to be charging on some routes in the corporate area has disappeared. And we're hearing that some drivers taking the 150 or don't come.
And also, the Minister of Finance put forward is supplement of expenditure. I don't think he would have gotten the news that the CPI in America, the inflation rate is at about 7.5%. I saw the market in America, the foreign market reacting very negatively to it. I've seen present a budget
a marginal increase to the parliament yesterday, and I'm saying that something is wrong with this man.
I was saying the same thing to Mr. Damian Gordon this morning, especially considering that this budget is high on capital expenditure. Considering that the budget being tabled 912 is supposed to include money to done our 4-lane road from Harborview to Yallas. It tells me that even though you put $65 billion for your capital expenditure, it really does sound like you plan to spend more. And we don't believe that you're going to be spending enough on the recurrent programs. Sorry.
One of the issues that as a business that we're having, especially those on the stock exchange, you will see that they have increased revenues, but the profits have dipped, some of them significantly.
Indeed, because expenses have gone up skyrocket.
Yes, and the unavailability of things, so the working capital has also increased as well. So I am not understanding how is it that at certain times inflation going up, that the government contributes to inflation, shrinking of the economy. All of this thing is happening right now, and the government is presenting a budget like that. I'm really not understanding.
Well, let us see the allocation for the roads. I was probably exaggerating. Won't burst the budget, but it's a concern that minimum wage hasn't gone up. We've not heard any type of announcements to ease the people. So we're expecting to hear some of those type of pretty things when the budget is read in March. But we don't hear none of those. We don't see none of those pretty things possible to come from this type of budget. We don't know. Because inflation, as you rightly say, lick us at 8%. And it is a lie. That inflation figure is a lie. The Jamaican people not stupid. The Jamaican people know that if the chicken did cost $350 or so before, and you put $50 upon it so that it costs $400, them know that 10% of 350 is 35. Listeners, all you have to do is drop the last number, and what left is the 10%. So they know that is 35 is 10%. So anything over 35 is more. The people know. So I don't know how they're going to fool the people this time, but we know that inflation wasn't 8% last year. We don't accept that. And we know it is already gone well above that this year.
And also, Madame Lagarde has made a statement saying that tightening at this time is not necessarily a solution in terms of monetary policy and fiscal policy. Because they're trying to solve one problem, but they create the next one.
Well,
I think what you was trying to say, you have to learn from balance. I don't think our government is balancing. I think they're just tightening.
They're just doing what?
Tightening.
They're just tightening.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, and they're not giving low-income earners, the working class, any real opportunity to earn. Because they know their friends can afford to pay them more. They know that their friends can afford to pay more than $7,500 a week.
I think one of the things that they're afraid of now is probably inflation going up through an increase in salary.
I can understand that fear, which is why they should have been gradually increasing the thing over time. Because now they're going to have to come with a shock, because they've not increased the minimum wage for eons.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for the contribution.
It was.
Thank you, boss. Well, I tell you, the people are connected to the finances, and it is nice. Welcome to the program, morning. People must know what is happening with the taxes. Morning. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes, morning. You're live on air. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Montague.
Morning.
Yes, I would like to know what this is the wickedest Prime Minister ever did in Jamaica here. Because when you look at the people that we are suffering and struggling with the chicken, one bag of chicken feed is over $2,000.
It's $2,400, ma'am. Don't do it. When you say over $2,000, somebody might think you mean $2,050 or $2,001. You need to say nearly $3,000. Is this it I go reach? So you need to say a bag of feeding soon costs $3,000. So you start the conf.
Okay, thank you for correcting me. Almost cost, look after this is directly $3,000.
Yeah.
So I want to know, this Prime Minister, him don't think nothing about poor people. Him no business with poor people. So me want to know if a fool Jamaica people so fool. All him a do a push down vaccine pan you, a push vaccine pan you. They have to kill me, because me not poison my body where them a put in a free body, because them first thing, they not explain to you about this vaccine. All them a tell you say, take the vaccine and argument done like say I'm pick me in my talk too.
There you go. I must tell you that one of the scientists who regularly cursed the vaccine program and the way that countries were doing it, he passed away yesterday. I'm going to Google and tell him name. But I must make you know, he's not a fenke scientist, but the world treat him like dog in recent days because he was hitting out against the COVID. The same things you're saying now, he was saying a lot of them. I'm going to look for his name. He died yesterday. He's a French scientist, and he's not a fenke scientist. The gentleman won the Nobel Prize, and his him tell about HIV/AIDS. He discovered it.
The thing like this, Mr. Montague. Remember, say, them did make AIDS. This thing you come out.
I'm glad you catch the maths.
This is not from God, and they could have killed me. This is not.
Well, I must tell you, that same scientist. Wait, hold on. That same scientist who they didn't like, and I must tell you, him win the Nobel Peace Prize. You know why I'm repeating that Nobel Peace Prize part? Because that time everybody liked him. He was singing them sanky. But he stopped singing their song. I find out his name.
He had killed out a whole heap of people until after that then they find cure for AIDS. Nobody now dead with AIDS again. And the same to them are doing this disease in the body come from. I mean of business who want hate me. They want they come kill me.
Well, ma'am, where you live? Orrett Montague, that's his name, yes, Orrett Montague, the co-discoverer of HIV/AIDS, died at 89. So he died yesterday. And I must tell you, one of the things that he kept saying before he died?
Yes.
That is them make COVID. Thank you for the contribution.
And them make he come out Thailand because out Thailand, but none of them. They can't come kill me, so none of them now can't put no city in my body.
We don't want them to come kill you.
She's a nurse, and she told me, she said, Mom, when they take the paper to them, she is a nurse in a children's hospital, Boskamanti.
We hear her.
And there was 2 doctors on the ward. And when they bring the paper onto the 2 doctors and say they must sign their name, the doctor says, sign my name for what? And they walk off.
Well, there are many doctors who are refusing to take the vaccine.
And all like that them a fool, them know this thing when them are putting a people body, a poison them are putting in
well, we don't know that. We need more public education, as you rightly said first, and we need to follow up some of the things that eminent scientists like the now deceased Orrett Montague have said. I thank you for the contribution, though. We have to run.
All right, sir.
Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm from Westmoreland, but at the moment I am in Mandeville.
Well, morning, Mandeville, and thank you very much for the contribution. We like your voice. Next time I'll send you some credit.
Sir. We will talk again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Welcome to the program. Morning.
Morning, Uncle Orrett. How are you?
Wow, Al. Interesting. Hear what the lady say. That lady.
It's my topic that you touch.
Yeah, man. Me know.
Because I am the boss.
I beg you hold the line for a second. We have to take the 9:30 break. Don't go anywhere. Listeners, please stay with us. JA speaking.
Lifetime contract, me and God never lose contact. Bacon well warm and stock. Them want eat man food like snack. Them George real, stereotype man true man black. See the enemy I set them trap. Almighty I push them back.
Hey. Just fear no evil as you go on.
No.
Yeah. Give praises, another day is done.
Love your life, love your family. Now if you overcome this struggle, don't get weary.
We'll be right back.
There will be days when you're too tired to move, to drive, but you think you have to because your vehicle won't wash itself, right? But now, you don't have to visit a car wash. 123 Mobile Car Wash will come straight to you. Yes, you heard right. 123 Mobile Car Wash is offering services in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine. We shampoo and detail cars, trucks, offices, and more. No job too small. Call us at 876-631-3400. 123 Mobile Car Wash. We come to you.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bess FM, keep listening.
Melody in our voice. Kemisha plays the music nice. Melody in our voice. Kemisha full of vibes. Bess FM run the town. Yes, I run the town. Hear me loud and clear. They run the country and the town, or the far and near. Bless the love into to Empress Kamisha on Best FM, and it's all about the reset, you know. Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on Best FM. Keep it locked. This is Warrior King, the Black Emperor. Come on, tune in.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Some cry, some smile, some fight every day. We rise to the top, 'cause we know what it takes. Through it all, we survive.
Best FM, locking it down.
Still hold the faith, unchangeable. Lord, unchangeable. Hey, no matter how the dollar might stack up, me still not change. Me, I go stay rough. Inna the giddy and you have to buckle up your lace. Be smart, don't be a gruff, no. Life it's a journey, it's a long race. Mama says son be wise and don't bring disgrace. So me take up the broom and start sweep the place. 'Cause all these ways they got to get erased.
Welcome back, JA is speaking. I'm your host, Orrett Montague. Yes, we're talking the truth right here. And we're about to tell you some of the truths you are sending in. We're coming back to a conversation with Al shortly. Mr. Earl Brown tells us, he's asking whether the juvenile that was shot at the Metcalf Juvenile Center this morning for trying to escape, he's asking what he was shot for. It wasn't this morning, wasn't it yesterday morning? It wasn't yesterday morning? It was yesterday morning, Mr. Brown. I will find out. I'll tell my listeners, in case some of you don't know, because some of you mightn't be aware. Yes, 2 juveniles tried to escape from the Metcalf Street Secure Juvenile Remand Center in Kingston. One of them was shot by a sentry guard while he was trying to climb the wall. I think that resulted in the other one not trying at all to climb the wall. There were some police officers outside the compound who heard the shot, so the gentleman who climbed the wall, lucky him never lose him life, because the officers could have opened fire too. But I don't know what they were inside the juvenile center for. We just know that a situation like this just reminds us of why it is important that we know all the details from Armadale. I thank you for bringing it to my attention. I must say morning to Mr. O'Neill Lynch. I hope that all is well, boss. Big lecturer at the University of Technology. He said one thing they think is that people are living free. Thus, that's why they don't want to pay more for minimum wage. I don't know if that's what you're saying. Inflation has risen above the central bank's target range of 4 to 6%. That is for sure. We know that. That is very true. I thank you for that contribution. And Mr. Lynch also says we expect inflation to increase to 8.8% at the end of 2021 and then recede to 6.7% at the end of 2022. I must tell you, these figures are the official figures, yes, Mr. Lynch, but they are not the figures that are faced by the poor. Because you see, inflation figures, large amounts of the time, they use things like high mortgage and rent and all these things to keep the inflation figure a little bit lower. But the inflation figure in real sense really is your basket of goods that you buy when you shop. I'm talking for poor people and working class people. You don't pay big mortgage, you don't pay light bill. Make we keep it quiet, but you don't pay light bill. Most of us who are poor people in this country, we try to avoid as best as possible paying light bill. You never know. Well, you know now. Well, so these things that make inflation seem low are not things that the poor have to. You see, the things that you have to buy, you poor man have to buy, those things are the things they are throwing the price rises on, so that they can still say that inflation is low. Because it's only food and things that go up. Let me spell it out for you. Thank you for the contribution. IMF report 2021, he says he gets it from Takwell Maker. Says, morning, Orrett and all on board in the mix. It has become a ritual on the rock, Jam Rock, for one to be waiting on Nancy trickery. And what type of Nancy trickery the government is coming up with next. I thank you for the contribution. Truth to Power wants Neville to run for mayor. Why does Neville not run for mayor of Portmore? Going back to the phone lines. I'll soon come back to the rest of the messages. Welcome to the program. Good morning. Welcome back. Where's Al? Morning, boss.
Yes, morning.
Yeah, you were making an important point. My apologies. We had to run to the break, and then I had to tell the people what some of the texters were saying.
As a man who understands deception,
Uh-huh.
I heard this gentleman from Miss Fanting the Berry. You ready?
Say that again.
From Berry Investment. You heard what he said?
From Berry Investment, you mean Mayberry?
Mayberry Investment. You heard what he said?
What did he say? Which one of what he said?
In the papers, he said that Corona is the biggest deception for this century.
the head of Mayberry Investment said that?
Yes. It's in the paper, headline.
Okay.
Let me just do this before
Well, you see what is happening in Canada, because I mentioned it this morning. I'm not sure if the listeners grasped it. But yesterday, the Canadian Prime Minister, was it day before yesterday, there was a long length of time the Canadian Prime Minister had to be in hiding.
He has to be hiding. He left his home from
Big Canada.
In New Zealand.
The people said they're done with mask. The people said, we're done with mask, Mr. Prime Minister. We're done with your vaccine.
In front of Parliament in New Zealand, there are hundreds of thousands of people who's marching against the lockdown and against the protocol in New Zealand, and the police are supporting them. In Rotterdam, in Netherlands, the police are marching along with the protesters against the lockdown and the vaccine right across the world. But the media in Jamaica is not carrying that.
I noticed. I must tell you bluntly this morning, I noticed that for true. Because I haven't even seen much mention of the chaos in Canada.
No,
and this is our neighbor. This is a country that many Jamaicans fly to all the time. If the Canadians people will hear about it. Well, you remember the dogs? You remember the dogs someone came to adopt?
Yes.
The Canadian man came to adopt some dogs?
Yes, I remember.
It was all over the news. You remember? Well, we want to see why the truckers are protesting in Canada. We want to know what they are upset about. We want to hear what the conservative leader of the Conservative Party in Canada has to say to Mr. Trudeau. All these things should be in the Jamaican media for true. I agree.
Let me say it. Orrett, had it not been for you, my friend, a lot of things that is being exposed in mainstream media. That's why I tell you, Orrett, there are some radio stations that is only old people listen, like Mr. Coombs, you know. Let me just, only Mr. Coombs. No young people not calling program there because the people are far ahead. A murder committed in a half a tree at the NCB Bank Park, you know. And you know, the media not at all, you know.
When was this?
Tuesday.
Wow.
And it's not in the media, you know. 3:30, right?
Where they killed the person?
Robbery take place in the NCB park and police out there around
the car park.
in a Half-a Tree, right in a Half-a Tree Square, the amount of murder and robbery that is taking place. Let me just tell you, these people that are in office believe the Jamaican people are comfortable with lies. Let's be carefully. And because of that, they put together plans and programs to keep them friends in office. Do you know that it's 161 people murdered in Jamaica since January 1st? Until yesterday, 161 people murdered. But they will come until they say murder and shooting is down 19%. Do not believe them, Jamaica. I am tracking the murder rate. I have a thing that I don't know if you saw it already.
I saw it. It's why I'm not telling you to shut up. it's why I'm making you talk, because I know I know that you know what you're saying today. Go ahead.
Everything that takes place in Jamaica, I get a report on it instantaneously. The pictures are taken.
Yes, and he has been keeping tally, listeners, and we've been watching his tally, and it's not had any numbers yet that don't look real. All of the dead people are dead for true.
And I think the pictures are there. You know.
Yes, and usually we don't want to hear about the evidence part, because you and I have to argue about that all the time. We don't want to see gruesome pictures. But yes, he often has the gruesome pictures to match. So 161 is the current murder rate. Unfortunately, the police figure slightly lower, but we understand.
To keep their job. Anyway, I'll say this to you. Is that I heard the budget yesterday on Claret.
912 billion.
With his throne speech, they never mention about corruption one time. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I noticed, and I didn't see any corruption bills on the table. Bruce was a much better labor leader than this one. They call him this. When this one came into power and took over from Bruce Golden, you remember? When they go and anoint him at that man house, where the man name again? The one that they say the man at Phelps and Phillips one, Brady. You remember when they ordained Andrew to lead at Brady's house? In case you never know, that is what happened. When they ordained Andrew to lead at Brady's house, people were saying that Andrew was baby Bruce.
Yes.
No, Bruce Golden is a decent man.
Decent man. Let me say it again. I used to speak to Mr. Golden every day on radio. Let me say this to you. The JLP had lost one of its best leaders Jamaica would have.
Of course.
In the JLP. He would have been.
As a young journalist, one day him look at me and him tell me that I didn't have no sense. But I know now, Mr. Golden, you're right. At them times, I never have no sense for true. Mr. Golden is a decent man. Andrew is no baby Bruce. Him is baby Siaga. I tell you, mark my word, take my word for it. Is baby Siaga.
All right, give me a chance to say the impasse baby Siaga, man. Let me finish. I'm going to tell you who he is. A man who remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. Proverbs 9. Listen to this.
Yes.
When the righteous strive, the people rejoice. And when the wicked rule, the people groan. The people are groaning in Jamaica. Listen to me, Jamaica. When you can move turtleneck for $80 in the shortest while, because of your stubbornness, Andrew, to take off the taxes off of gas and off of the container wharf, your neck is stiff. The Bible said you will destroy suddenly because the people are groaning. Andrew, listen to me carefully. The people are groaning in this country. Inflation is 21%.
Don't say that. You hear the big doctor from UTech, O'Neill Lynch, him said that inflation is 8.something%.
All right, O'Neill, that's joke. I'm a friend, but him very use religion and so-called integrity and honesty for joke. But me just say this to you. But me just tell you, he doesn't understand when a chicken can move from 120 to 300 and odd. That can be 8%.
It cannot. It's why I don't understand how they get the inflation figures. CB come out and say that them put 40 on it. So you don't need to guess. One of the producers, they come out and they tell you that they put $40 on the $300 meat or $300 meat. So inflation cannot be 8%. It's just illogical. Unless it is that you're using other expenses to bring down real inflation. Expenses that the poor don't face. Expenses like mortgage and light and you know what I mean?
Inflation in Argentina this morning is 51%.
Wow.
51.
Wow.
And they blaming it, listen to this, they're blaming it not so much on government, but on the policies of the IMF.
Oh.
Watch me. And they are demonstrating out there.
Argentina, I'll check that out.
Do Jamaica know that the only country out of 200 and odd country that stands for nothing?
And that you're waiting for you to make this point because you're so right. We're one of the only countries that haven't demonstrated.
Nothing. It accepts everything. It is very stubborn. And guess what? I'm going to read a scripture for in Jamaica. What God is going to say to you.
Quickly, because we have to run.
I'm going to just read the scripture, Orrett. I am saying, Uncle Orrett, when your country can reach that your minimum wage is 7,500 a week, and yet still, when you leave your house and by the end of the week you spend 13 to 14,000 and you don't complain, something wrong with you. This is what look, I read the word I tell you.
Everybody in Jamaica who is working class and poor now is living the pre-Peter Phillips Jamaica. Remember before Peter Phillips was leader, Jamaica had to be borrowing just to pay back what it borrowed?
Ralston said yesterday.
The people are living like that now.
Jamaica, Ralston said, my friend, yesterday, that Jamaica is in a recession.
Wow. I need to talk to Ralston. I thank you very much for the contribution.
Look at us, this and leave you.
Quickly.
This is what God said to Isaiah. Isaiah 41. Be silent before me, you island, and let the nation renew their strength. Let them come forward and speak. Let us meet together at a place of judgment. Who has stirred up one from the east, calling him righteousness to this service. Let me tell you something. The Bible spoke about the island. This island of Jamaica, where they clapped in Parliament yesterday and celebrating corruption and give the Economic Growth Council more money, and that place needed to be audited because we don't know what it is being spent for.
I would like to know too. I would like to know too. I don't see the job creation at all that they're talking of.
Economic Growth Council Ministry to be audited.
I would agree with that. I have to go. I would definitely agree with calling for an audit of that ministry. I thank you very much for the contribution. Welcome to the program. Morning.
Shalom to you and yours, Mr. Orrett.
Yes, morning.
And to all the listeners on the various platform. Mr. Horace, let me start it out. I want you to read us one small part of the scripture because I want to address your pastor that you have been praying for Jamaica, not knowing who we are. It says Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Just read it for the people before I continue.
I think you said that you was going to read a piece of scripture.
No, I want you to read it for the hearing.
You always put my name on program to the message reading, like me tell you that I want to the message.
I still want you to read it, but I will answer this question. And your listener can go ahead and read it. The pastor said, indeed, and he used the specific word in the book of Psalms 148 and verse 14. All right, indeed. The Lord has not done this to any other people. Indeed, except the saints, his saints, which are the children of Israel. That's what Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 is about the curse of the law. The whole Deuteronomy 28. And verse 68 says, and ship will take you into Egypt, which means slavery. As in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2. Again, by the way which I show you, and you will not see your homeland again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies. Mr. Orrett, were we sold? Were we taken on the side of the world and sold after we taken off the slave ship?
Yes.
Yes, we were sold. So that's an identifying mark.
I don't know about that. You can't hold on. It's not we want them take and sell into slavery. You are aware, right?
No.
But you are aware. You are aware.
That's arguable, but what I'm saying...
No. Hold on, wait, man. These are the things that make you fall out. There are still people today in countries like Mali who are in slavery and who are bought and sold.
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
Yes.
So it
But
is not
they are the
Jamaica.
children of Israel
It is
too.
not Jamaica. Oh, them are children of Israel too.
Yes, let me show you something. 64 says. and
You're
I will
aware though
tell
that
you,
white people get sold into
from
slavery?
one end of the earth to the other. No,
Wait, no, you're aware that back in time, wait no man, even in Europe, you're aware that they used to buy white slaves as well?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
But ships, look at en masse. Which people? No. All right. Which people was taken en masse in ships? Which people were thrown off train? All right. Do you know? You heard of the song, right?
I am not disagreeing with your identification of Jamaicans as special or as Israelites and the different types of identifications that you drop. But I'm saying that none of that should really affect or change much. Because we still have to live better as a people. We still have to cultivate love.
Pastor Stephen said something about he was in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And he said he went to a market. And let me ask you this. Is Coronation Market in Jamaica today is a place to be exemplified?
No,
Is
sir.
it some place to be proud of?
No, sir. Hold on. Take back the proud. I am proud of it because it has within it, it contains within it a lot of our banyans of society, our hard-working Jamaican women that keep the economy going. So
you're proud of the people,
yes,
and their resources.
Yes, but when you go down that market, you have to feel pride.
The ambience, the place is not proper. It can't be done.
You blame government for that. Government forget blame for that.
Yes, but you need to address, not because he's a pastor and he had some pastoral degree. You need to address him when he said, indeed, that's a place when he was in it reminded him of Coronation Market. That's an insult, Mr. Correct. That's an insult to the Jamaican people.
I hear you.
Saying that, and you use that to emphasize that we are indeed African. We are not African.
Oh, we're not African? We're not African?
There is over.
What are we? You're European. And I know this, man. When that is why, but that is why the boss have to say African. Him can't say Nigerian. Him can't say Ghana. And we don't. You know which country you come from in Africa? Your ancestor.
We can't argue the case of reparation on that basis because that's what they.
But you're out of order. Wait. We can argue the case of reparation based on one fact. When slavery was ended, they knew that they were persons to be compensated. They only compensated the slave owners. Argument done. We want our compensation now. You're talking going back to Africa. Repatriation. With that one, I don't really jump. I don't jump up behind that one. But I think
Mr. Orrett.
I heard reparations the first time.
When he made us, when he made us. I don't want to use the word. When he made, are you hearing me?
Yes, but I really have to run short.
All right. I will give it a break for now. But
you.
Listen, that's not to the Coronation Market.
Don't hold it up as an example. It can be done better. I agree.
It's not something to be exemplified or to be proud
I agree with you.
You go to Africa and see.
I agree with you. And if they do Coronation right, the amount of more money that would come in when decent people start to use the market, more decent people start to use the market and all these things. It is a shame the facilities that the poor are expected to use. It is a shame. Welcome to the program, morning. We wanted to talk to Lambert Brown this morning about some of that, so we'll speak to Senator Brown next week. Welcome to the program.
Morning, brother Monty. Wagwan.
Not bad. Morning, boss. Get cut off. Oh, dear. I'm so sorry about that caller. It looks like the caller was waiting for a while. Sound like Africa. You got a number from the boss? Lord, if you can get back a call, Africa, I'll gladly send you back some credit. I'm going to tell you some of the messages that have been coming in, and then I'll get ready to go out of here. I must also draw your attention to the fact that your government have gun amnesty and money given away for gun. Remember, you want to run with the Chronics, or you want to run with one of them, or you want to run with one of them tunes that we've been getting from the young people. The Source of Bones are there. What the other one name? Ranko. Well, there, one of those. Alkebilan says him okay with everything when you ask him the time when they were having driver training. He said the gas was okay, even though the price was on the rise. Leave Mr. Newman alone. The truth to post says, Monty, the police are lying. The policewoman first said she cut the hair because it had in white stuff and because she could use to hang her, and she could use it to hang herself. Then it was the girl who cut it, and now she pull it out. Boy, truth to power. Thank you for being so observant. I'm glad it's not me once. But thank you very much, boss. Truth to power also says the fact that we don't have, we read that one already. Sorry, Brown. Good morning, Mr. Orrett. The province of Ontario may declare a state of emergency today. The city of Ottawa, who have a Jamaican for their police chief, already does because of the truckers that occupy it. The truckers are crippling Canada's economy with their blockade of the border with the U.S. Yes, that is very true. Reagan Lynch says democracy is not a waste of resources. That might be a dangerous statement. It is a very dangerous statement. Democracy is not a waste of resources. You must let me know when I missed that statement. Monty, did you catch a glimpse of the party standings? Welcome to the program. Morning. Yes. I want to send you some credit. You must leave your number back with the engineer.
Yes, Brother Monty.
Uh-huh.
I hear a news with Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Him say if Russia fire, America start fire shot. It's going to be world war.
You hear Biden say that?
Yeah, man.
No, man, you have not heard Biden say that. Because Mr. Biden is expecting, and I think the Americans have now put themselves in a position where they expect some type of incursion. They don't expect him to go into all of Ukraine, but they definitely expect him to enter the east, the Donbass region.
Him tell all of the Americans to leave out them now.
Who, Mr. Biden? Yes, man, Mr. Biden did that some time ago. Because the general country will be violent and you'll have war, you don't know what type of shortages. But in terms of invading all of Ukraine, Mr. Biden doesn't expect Mr. Putin to do that. And there's no word from the West that there'd be an attack from the West if Mr. Putin invaded the Donbass region. No one in the West has said. You don't see everybody in the West shut up. The only thing they've promised Mr. Putin is sanctions. And I believe Mr. Biden met with the German Chancellor, the new German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz. He met with him a few days ago, and after that meeting, they announced that the Nord Stream pipelines would come to an end if Russia was to invade. The Nord Stream pipeline is how Russia sends natural gas to Europe.
Yes, my brethren, that's different from when Mr. Biden said the last talk when he met.
Okay. Well, if you hear something else that I haven't heard, I'll go research, but I can't repeat it yet because I haven't heard it yet. I hope you understand.
You can research it, Brother Monty.
I will do, man. I will do.
Next thing now. Rasta, the government, the parliamentarian, them no parliament there. From a long time I know so them have a problem with Rasta, don't Huh?
I don't know. It's you telling me.
They don't know the history of them and what go on with them and Rasta in Jamaica. Huh?
Well, you need to hold the line because you need to get the number. You need to give the number. But I know that they had a problem with Rastas. I know they wanted to bring them in dead or alive. I know all the history.
Yes. And I see them thing with the Christian them too. You know, the parliamentarian them are like the church neither, you know.
Oh. They're afraid of the church, you mean?
And them not like the maroon neither, you know.
Oh, they don't like anybody. Boy, we have to run. We have to run. It is 1 minute to 10 o'clock. Boy, I wish and hold the line because you need to. Oh, you can't. Oh, we have to run. We have to run. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much for the contribution. You hear, boss?
Thanks, brother, man.
I want to say there's some credit, so leave your number one morning. Alkepilan says Services Inc., a state of emergency on tour today, is going to clear the blockade in Windsor, Ontario. So yes, there's the blockade. Mr. Brown telling us about the truckers blocking up roads in Canada. Mayor Rastafari, I'm self-employed outside looking in. Alright, my boss. The truth is unfolding out in the fore. Remember too that President Magufuli, Tanzania, who passed away last year, the one who revealed the trickery in the Big C testing kit. Thank you for the contribution. At the time running out on them, Let there be light, and the people shall see the truth. I want my 40 acres of land and a mule, Mr. Brown says. That is about repatriation. All right, my boss. The big boss just forward. Evil Lion up next right here on Best 100 FM. I am Orrett Montague. I am about to leave. We have to say thank you to Mikel Jackson, the CEO of Jet. Wonderful conversation. Like our lover, thank you for the contribution. We have to say thanks to Mr. Edgerton Newman as well. And we have to say thanks to Mr. Damian Gordon. And of course to the Reverend Harold Blair. And we thank our big boss, Engineer Andre. Up next, as I said, Evil Lion, don't go no.